Chapter 4974 Buzzing. Lei Linger and Huolinger turned into giant dragons, wandering back and forth in the Shenqi, their bodies exuding divine radiance, and their breaths were constantly changing. Their breath became more and more sacred and magnificent, and more runes began to condense on the scales. At that moment, they began to have the breath of destiny. Seeing their changes, Long Chen was ecstatic. Chen Kuan-ding said that after the two became destiny, they could practice in the outside world in the future, and they no longer needed to be confined to the chaotic space. Brother Longchen, I think I'm getting stronger and stronger. Lei Linger swam to Long Chen's side and turned into a beautiful girl, her pretty face full of excitement. Shoo, try not to make a sound, we are stealing their energy, steal it hard, the more the better. Long Chen laughed. Okay. Lei Linger smiled and turned into a thunder dragon again, wandering freely in the Shenqi. Unlike Long Chen, Lei Linger and Huolinger only absorb the power of thunder, flame, and destiny in the Shenqi, so they can easily control them without worrying about their bodies being burst. And Long Chen is different. He is a human race. He has more or less in his body and has all the energy between heaven and earth. Therefore, if he wants to become stronger, he cannot refuse all energy. Otherwise, once the energy in the body is out of balance, it will be injured. The human body is a very miraculous thing. It contains everything and you will never use it for some things, but it will not work without it. Therefore, between heaven and earth, human beings are the spirits of all races, and any beings who cultivate to a certain level must incarnate as human beings and practice cultivation. Because after incarnation, they will be closer to the way of heaven, and the bottleneck that was stuck in front of them is easier to loosen, and it is easier to understand the law of heaven. This is an extremely uncomfortable thing for those races that are extremely arrogant but look down on the human race. They look down on the human race, but they want to incarnate the human race. This is a kind of slap in the face of themselves, but there is no way. Some races only maintain their human form when cultivating, and usually appear as their main body to declare their noble identity. And some races, after incarnating in human form, will retain their own identity, such as wings, claws, hair, scales, horns, and other characteristics that human races do not have, to tell others that they are not human. But no matter how hard you try to hide your ears and steal bells, it's useless. Incarnation is the best way to cultivate. This is the iron law that the entire cultivation world has to agree with. Buzzing. Long Chen's body trembled with colorful radiance. Under the blessing of Shenqi, the blood of the Seven Colors Supreme became more and more active. As it became stronger and stronger, he absorbed more and more power and became more and more ferocious. And dragon blood and purple blood are also madly improving themselves, but they are not absorbing the power of destiny nor any power in gold, wood, water, fire, and soil. What is the specific power? Long Chen also said not come out. In short, here they are like dragons returning to the sea, tigers returning to the mountains and forests, growing themselves freely, and gradually starting to be out of Long Chen's control. Boom! Suddenly Long Chen's body was shocked, his face changed, and the colorful supreme blood actually launched an attack on the dragon's blood. Two different runes in Long Chen's body were clearly separated, and they collided fiercely. Boom boom boom. Colorful supreme blood seemed to have suffered all grievances and finally found a chance to take revenge, and began to launch a frantic charge against dragon blood. And dragon blood is not to be outdone, even in the home field of Qicai supreme blood, they are still madly suppressing Qicai supreme blood, and they seem to be fighting for who is the boss. Don't fight, what's the point of killing each other? Long Chen was speechless for a while. The two of them fought. The most uncomfortable thing was Long Chen, he was extremely uncomfortable. But at this time, they are out of control, and colorful supreme blood seems to be unwilling to be suppressed all the time. Now it finally has a chance, it will start to be the boss. However, the Seven Colors Supreme Blood is still far weaker than the Dragon Blood. However, it has a steady stream of power blessings, and it continues to grow. Its speed of improvement is much faster than that of Dragon Blood. And as it kept attacking and consuming, Long Chen found that its power became more and more solid, and it seemed to use this opportunity to temper itself. Compared with the crazy dragon blood and the colorful supreme blood, the purple blood is particularly quiet, quietly absorbing the power of the Shunqi there, not participating in the war between the two at all. Buzz. Suddenly there were two light sounds in the ear, followed by two powerful qi and blood spurting out. Long Chen took a closer look and found that Long Linger and Hua Linger's bodies were flowing, and on their scales, there was a streak. Ripple. One-star destiny. Long Chen was surprised and delighted. So soon, the two of them became one-star destiny. Buzz. As a result, when the ripple appeared, the second ripple appeared immediately, and in almost less than a breath, their destiny surged again. Long Chen opened his mouth wide. This is too crazy. Once their power of destiny is activated, there is an unstoppable trend. Buzzing. Lei Linger and Hua Linger's whole bodies flickered with the divine light of destiny, and their breaths rose wildly. Samsung destiny, 4-star destiny, 5-star destiny. In almost a few breaths, he rushed directly to the 9-star destiny man, and Long Chen's eyeballs were about to protrude. Is this too exaggerated? The two rushed from the 1-star destiny to the 9-star destiny in one breath. Even if Long Chen saw it with his own eyes, he still couldn't believe it, as if he was in a dream. They have the blessing of the power of destiny, and their breath is getting stronger and stronger, but this has not stopped, and the lines on their scales are constantly flickering. Soon the 9 Stripes Road had a trend of slow integration. At that moment, Long Chen felt that his heart stopped beating, and he couldn't even care about the fight between the dragon blood and the colorful supreme blood in his body, so he stared at them. Buzz. Half an hour later, almost at the same time, the auras of Lei Linger and Hua Linger burst out suddenly, and waves of thousands of feet were set off in the Shunqi. At that moment, Long Chen felt the same breath as Long Ziwei on them. At the same time, Long Chen saw a colorful divine ring on their scales. The ring of destiny, Long Chen exclaimed, is this too exaggerated? It took less than an hour for them to condense the ring of destiny, which is already half the sun of destiny. Boom! Suddenly, Long Chen groaned and felt that his chest was about to explode. Long Chen hurriedly opened his eyes. He was shocked to find that the breath of dragon blood and colorful supreme blood became extremely powerful and violent. Long Chen's face changed suddenly. He patronized to see the changes of Hua Linger and Lei Linger, and forgot to control the dragon blood and the colorful supreme blood. During this period of time, they have unscrupulously absorbed the power of Shunqi and have grown to an uncontrollable level. It's over, it's dead now. Long Chen was so angry that he forgot how important it was. You too, stop me now. Long Chen roared, his hands formed seals, and began to suppress them. Chapter 4975. Long Chen suppressed it with all his strength, but was shocked to find that they were completely out of control at this time, fighting like a madman, ignoring Long Chen at all. It was only then that Long Chen noticed that their power had swelled too much, and they had absorbed too much power, especially the 7 colors supreme blood, which could already compete with the dragon blood. Boom boom boom. They are colliding with each other, and Long Chen's meridians have been subjected to such terrifying power, and fine cracks have begun to appear. If they are not controlled, the meridians will be burst by them. Senior, how do you do it? Long Chen can only ask Qian Kuan-Ding for help. Fine, Qian Kuan-Ding just responded calmly with 2 words and lost his voice. The meridians are about to burst. Do you think it's okay? Does it matter if I die? Long Chen was a little panicked. Meridians are the most important things for practitioners. If they are damaged, no matter how powerful they will not be able to use them. Boom boom boom. Dragon blood and colorful supreme blood are fighting wildly. The most terrifying thing is that while they are fighting, they are still absorbing the power of Shunqi madly, like never-tiring madmen. They are getting stronger and stronger, and the stronger they are, the more uncontrollable they are. Long Chen found that he could no longer close the connection with Shunqi, and they could absorb the power of Shunqi by themselves without going through him. Long Chen wants to jump out of the Shunqi, although they can absorb the power of Shunqi through the air, but the effect will be much worse, which can buy him a little time. However, he was shocked to find that he couldn't move. The dragon blood and the supreme blood brought together the power of the whole body, and he had lost control of the body. "What are you playing?" It was the first time in his life that Long Chen encountered such a situation, and the whole person was stunned. "Senior, help!" Long Chen shouted to Qian Kuan-ding for help. Qian Kuan-ding said, "You must let them grow to the extreme, otherwise you will not be able to enter the Jiuli Pagoda at all, and even if you enter, you will die inside." Ah! Long Chen was shocked. "You don't have to worry, let them fight, your meridians will be damaged, but with the power of Shun Qi and your own repairability, it will not explode." Qian Kuan-ding said. With the words of Qian Kuan-cauldron, Long Chen was finally less panicked, and began to calm down and use the power of chaos space and the power of Shun Qi to repair the damage of the meridians. As Qian Kuan-ding said, as long as Long Chen calms down and heals, the wound formed after the collision of dragon blood and colorful supreme blood will heal in time. Although it will be torn again immediately after healing, but as long as the rhythm is mastered and the meridians are not injured, it is not a big problem. Moreover, as the wound was repaired repeatedly, Long Chen found that the meridians seemed to be strengthened. Although it still looks like it would be injured on the surface, you must know that the power of dragon blood and supreme blood is increasing. The same wound, but means different levels of damage. Dragon blood and supreme blood are like disobedient children. Long Chen can only endure their naughty silently. Time passes little by little, and I don't know how long it will take. A loud noise came, followed by a huge force. "Come!" Long Chen was blown away and slammed into the rocks on the shore, almost stunned Long Chen. When Long Chen was dizzy, he looked into the distance and saw that Hua Linger and Lei Linger had turned into beautiful girls. Behind them, a huge roulette emerged, a flame roulette and a thunder roulette. "Have you been promoted to the Son of Destiny?" Long Chen opened his mouth wide and was ecstatic, and at this moment, there was a scolding from Qian Kuan-ding. "Idiot, quickly repair the meridians, otherwise it will really explode." Long Chen hurriedly started to look inside. At that moment, he was so frightened that he lost his soul. In the blink of an eye, the meridians were already riddled with holes, and they would burst open at any time, which scared him to rush to repair. After continuous rescue, finally after a stick of incense, the previous deadlock was restored again. At that moment, Long Chen was sweating profusely. He only had time to take a look at Hua Linger and Lei Linger, and found that they were no longer in the Shunqi and returned to the chaos space. They are sitting cross-legged on the void, the destiny wheel behind their heads is spinning, they look sacred and solemn, and they are full of grace, like a goddess of flame and goddess of thunder, and their temperament has undergone earth-shaking changes. Frightened. Let them get used to the power of destiny, and when they get used to it, their strength will give you a surprise. Qian Kuan-ding said. Even Qian Kuan-ding used surprise to describe them. This must be a real surprise, and Long Chen couldn't help but be ecstatic. Boom boom boom. The dragon blood and the supreme blood in Long Chen's body are still colliding tirelessly, but Long Chen found that the trauma they caused to the meridians began to get smaller and smaller. Have their power reached its peak? Before, their power was constantly improving, and Long Chen's repairing power was also increasing. Now, the wounds are getting smaller and smaller, which means that their power is no longer improving. Well, it's saturated. Next, you wake up the power of Zixue and make them quiet. Qian Kuan-ding said. With purple blood. Long Chen patted his thigh. How could he forget about it? Zixue seems to have a magical power, and has been balancing the contradiction between them. After being reminded by Qian Kuan-ding, Long Chen immediately communicated with Zixue. When Long Chen began to use purple blood was still as gentle as before, never resisting at all, and did not become rebellious because of his strength. When Long Chen used the power of purple blood to pacify the two forces, he lost his previous ability. Before, purple blood was very good at persuading them to fight, but now the other party seems to be hitting a spark, and no one is willing to stop. They do not reject purple blood. The power, but just refuse to stop. Qian Kuan-ding seems to have known for a long time that it will be like this. Burn your foundation and help Zixue. This. I heard right, so my cultivation will go backwards? Long Chen could hardly believe his ears. It is extremely difficult for him to improve his realm. If he wants to rise again once his realm falls, the difficulty will probably increase thousands of times. I don't have time to explain so much, hurry up and do it, someone has already come, hurry up. Qin Kuan-ding said. As soon as Long Qin gritted his teeth, the purple blood burned rapidly, and the purple flames wrapped the colorful supreme blood and dragon blood at the same time. Boom! Suddenly, a muffled sound came from Long Chen's body, and Long Chen was instantly weak. He actually fell from the cultivation base of the triple heaven to the state when he first entered the realm of God Venerable. At this time, the dragon blood and colorful supreme blood in Long Chen's body finally calmed down. Kakaka! The door opened, and a group of people walked in. When they saw the situation in the Shenqi, their expressions changed. Long Yaoting yelled angrily, "What are you doing?" Chapter 4976. Long Chen is already weak at this time, and the feeling of falling in the realm is like a person's internal organs have been hollowed out, and the whole person is about to die. At the edge of the Shenqi, the head of the Long family, the three major heavenly saints, and Lord Tianxi all came. When they saw the scene of the Shenqi, they were all stunned. In the original Shenqi, the mist was steaming, and the milky white liquid was thick like milk, but now the fog is gone, and the rich liquid has become translucent, which means that the power of Shenqi has been lost too much, and it can no longer be used for other things. After the disciple has been baptized, it will take at least a few hundred years to recover. Because of this, the dragon family powerhouses were shocked and angry. They have been discussing before, and the meeting has been opened. The left waits for Long Chen to come out, and the right waits for Long Chen to come out. Finally, I can't wait to take a look. After seeing this at a glance, the head of the Long family almost lost his breath. And Long Yaoting is even more frantic. This is the accumulation of the Long family for hundreds of years. It has only been opened until now. There are still some disciples waiting for baptism, but it turned out to be like this, and there is no way to baptize. On the other hand, Long Qianxue was kind enough to pull Long Chen out of the divine pond. Long Qianxue also looked at Long Chen with a shocked expression. She couldn't understand when Long Chen came, he was obviously the third heaven of the gods, how did he fall down now? Just advanced. Seeing Long Yaoting asking, Long Chen scolded, "You still have the face to ask me?" Everything was fine, but suddenly the power of the entire Shenqi pressed down on me, almost crushing me to death. If it weren't for my burning realm, I couldn't even save my life. I almost died here, saying that it was because of you that you wanted me to die here, so that my father would have no way to avenge me? Anyway, it's already like this, so he just took a bite back. Long Yaoting's face turned black with anger and roared, "It's all nonsense, nonsense." Nonsense? Could it be that my injury is fake? Is my realm falling a fake? Long Chen asked. For a time, the members of the Long family were dumbfounded. They had never encountered such a phenomenon, and there was no such record even in the history books. It turned out that the Long family's destiny pool could only accommodate one person for baptism at a time, and the energy absorbed in this way would be slowly replenished. If too much is absorbed at one time, it will affect the regeneration ability of the Shenqi. Therefore, after a person is baptized, the Shenqi will rest for a few days. Even the existence of Long Tianruis level consumes a lot of money after the baptism. However, what they don't know is that there is the crazy consumption of Long Linger, Hua Linger, Dragon Blood, Colorful Supreme Blood, and Purple Blood, plus Long Chen uses it to heal, and finally extracts its power to burn the realm, all of a sudden caused a huge deficit, and it appeared like this. And Long Chen is shameless enough. He clearly did something wrong, and he also looked like a victim, but Lai Long's family did his tricks. The Long family also thinks this matter is extremely suspicious, but they all know that the fall of the realm is a fatal blow to a genius. Long Chen can't pay such a terrible price to frame them. Isn't that a fool? Long Chen, this is definitely not the problem of the Long family. At this time, Lord Tianxi said, "Then you mean my problem?" Long Chen said angrily, in order not to be found abnormal, Long Chen could not be polite to Lord Tianxi. No, that's not what I meant. Think about it, if we really wanted to kill you, why bother? Besides, if you die here, we can't get rid of it. The Destiny God Pond is the lifeblood of the Long family. We can't use it to take risks. What if you destroy it? Master Tianxi said. Long Chen was silent, and he seemed to think that what Lord Tianxi said made sense. His face softened slightly, and Lord Tianxi borrowed a donkey to go down the ramp. This thing is too strange, but you can't doubt the sincerity of our Long family, and at the same time don't question our IQ. We won't do such stupid things. So, we will investigate this matter. As for you, I think you will temporarily recover from your injury. After you recover from your injury, how about we talk about Jelita? Long Chen hesitated for a moment, nodded and said, that's the only way, but I still retain my previous opinion. What do you mean? You still suspect that I did the trick? Long Yaoting was furious. My dad said that it was a little kid, and I didn't have good intentions. I didn't say that you must have done it. I just reserved my opinion. What's wrong? Long Chen countered. Long Yaoting's head was full of flames. Stop, Qianxue. You take Long Chen away and let him heal his wounds first. The head of the Long family looked ugly. He had never encountered such a difficult thing in his life, such a difficult person. The only thing he thinks about now is to let Long Chen disappear quickly, out of sight and out of mind. Long Chen was a little depressed. Why didn't Lord Tianxi take him away? Could they have seen something? Shouldn't it be? Long Chen was a little reluctant in his heart, and his face showed it. Long Qianxue thought he wanted the patriarch to give him an explanation, so he pulled him away. Looking at the back of Long Chen's departure, Long Yaoting gritted his teeth. This little beast is even more irritating than his dead father. It really pisses me off. Long Qihua didn't speak, walked into the Shunqi and checked it. After a long time of checking, he didn't find anything suspicious. He looked at the patriarch and shook his head. This bastard, how can he cause trouble like this? I'm really mad at me. The patriarch looked at Shunqi with anger and heartache. I think it must be this kid's fault. Long Yaoting said bitterly. Whether it's a ghost or not, we don't have any evidence, and it's not a pretense that his cultivation has been cut to the end. He's as skilled as a ghost and won't do such stupid things. Forget it, let's not talk about this, hurry up and make amends. There are still so many disciples waiting for baptism. Immediately mobilize the resources of the treasure house and restore the Shunqi as quickly as possible. The Long family said, fast recovery, the resource consumption is very scary. Long Yaoting said, there's no way to do that. I don't have time to wait. It's rare to usher in the great prosperity of the Long family. We must hurry up. Now is not the time for money, and we have to bite the bullet. Long family leader said. Although he was also in pain, there was no way, no matter how much money he spent, he had to endure it. Actually, I don't think these losses matter. Long Qihua said, as long as we can get the Qiankuan cauldron in Long Chen's hands, all the losses will come back in an instant. When Long Qihua said this, everyone nodded, and Long Yaoting's eyes were full of ruthlessness. Chapter 4977. Long Chen left with Long Qianxue, with a victim's expression on his face, and went all the way to the quiet room that Long Qianxue arranged for him. After he was alone, Long Chen laughed. It's shameless. Kunding teased. Long Chen's rake directly stunned the dragon family powerhouses, and even Qiankuan Ding felt very funny. Hey, to deal with shameless people, you can only be more shameless. Long Chen smiled. Long Chen took a pill and began to recover, and his realm fell, which brought great discomfort to the body, which would lead to a serious decline in Long Chen's combat power. Long Chen needed to quickly adjust to deal with accidents that could happen at any time. It took Long Chen 3 days to gradually adapt to his body. When Long Chen walked out of the quiet room, he received an invitation from the patriarch. In a smaller parliamentary hall, the head of the Long family, the three heavenly saints and Lord Tianxi have all arrived. As soon as Long Chen sat down, the patriarch said straight to the point, don't mention the matter of Shunqi, let's go directly to the next topic. Regarding the Jili Pagoda, after consultation, we have decided that you can enter the Jili Pagoda to practice, but there is one condition. Just tell me what the conditions are. Long Chen said lightly. When you enter the Jili Pagoda, you need to lend us the Qiankuan cauldron. The head of the Long family said word by word. Long Chen thought that they wanted Long Chen to compete with Long Tianjiao Long Tianrui, because they learned from Long Ziwei that Long Tianrui was the undefeated Tianjiao of the Long family, and they had absolute confidence in Long Tianrui. Long Chen thought that they wanted Long Tianrui to defeat Long Chen, thus breaking Long Chen's thoughts, but they didn't expect that they were thinking about his Qiankuan cauldron. Long Chen's heart suddenly became hot, and just as he was about to speak, the voice of Qiankuan Ding came in his mind. Don't worry, this is part of the plan, continue to deal with them. When Long Chen heard Qiankuan Ding say this, he suddenly understood that it took the initiative to take the initiative that day and made an appearance on purpose, not to shock the other party, but it had a deeper meaning. Long Chen suppressed the anger in his heart and sneered, "It's a big joke, how could I lend the Qiankuan cauldron to you? If I lent it to you, wouldn't it be a sheep?" The head of the Long family seems to have long known that Long Chen would say this, and he said slowly, "Whether it is the Destiny God Pond or the Juli Pagoda, they are both treasures for my Long family disciples to cultivate, and using them will cause huge consumption. And your God Pool baptism has caused huge losses in the God Pool. Our Long family needs to consume more than half of the resources to maintain it. You are a disciple of the Long family, and you have the right to use it, but at the same time, you are also obliged to maintain it. Maintaining it, what does it have to do with my Qiankuan cauldron?" Long Chen asked rhetorically. "You have taken up so many resources which will seriously affect the cultivation of others, and this deficit can be made up for with the Qiankuan cauldron. We can use the Qiankuan cauldron to help these disciples who cannot enjoy their rights because of you, and make up for their losses by improving in another way. This is an equivalent exchange." The Long family said. "Qiankuan Ding can be used to help people improve? Don't fool me, why don't I know?" Long Chen doubtfully said this is not pretending, but he really doesn't know. Long Yaoting couldn't help but said, "You don't understand a lot of things. In a word, use your Qiankuan cauldron in exchange for your opportunity to enter the Jiuli Pagoda for cultivation. After you come back from practice in Jiuli Pagoda, the Qiankuan cauldron will return to you. If you agree, we can sign a contract. If you don't agree, you have already completed the baptism of the Shenqi, and you will not be held accountable for your crime of destroying the Shenqi. You can leave now." Jiuli Pagoda can help others to quickly improve their cultivation, and the realm is extremely solid after the upgrade, and it will not be affected by the decline of the realm at all. Long Qihua reminded. After Long Qihua's reminder, Long Chen jumped up like his tail was being stepped on, and yelled at Long Qihua, "It turns out that you are a bastard. You deliberately made my realm fall, and then I had to use the Gelida, which completely trapped me. You are so sinister." Long Qihua was pointed at the nose by Long Chen, his face turned black with anger. He secretly scolded himself for reminding him too much, and as a result, this reminder felt that everything was tangled, really like a series of traps. This is simply Huang and I shouting in on the crotch, "It's not shit, it's shit." Seeing that everything was going well, the head of the Long clan suddenly became mad, and his head suddenly became big, and he hurriedly said, calm down, it's really not what you said, I swear by my soul, this time is it okay?" Seeing the head of the Long family say this, Long Chen's face has eased a lot, but in Long Chen's mind, there is the laughter of Qiankuan Ding, "It's almost enough, don't overdo it." Long Chen's acting skills, even the Qiankuan cauldron can't hold back. It is too realistic. This group of people encounters Long Chen, it can be regarded as bad luck for 8 lifetimes. Long Chen's face softened a lot, but he was silent, and everyone dared not speak, for fear that like Long Qihua, a word would make Long Chen angry again. This guy is too suspicious, just like a fox. When Long Chen was silent, he was actually communicating with Qiankuan cauldron. For the Long family, he must be unbelievable. Don't worry, they just want to use me, and it just so happens that I also need to use their resources to quickly restore my strength. With the strength of the Long family, it can't threaten me or keep me, but you, after entering the Jili Pagoda, you have to rush to the 12th heavenly great perfection. Qiankuan Ding said, "Go directly to the great perfection of the 12th layer?" Long Chen couldn't believe his ears. "You'll know when you go in, otherwise I won't keep encouraging you to come to the dragon's house. As for what to do after entering, I have left the rune in your sea of consciousness. After entering, it will automatically guide you. See that seal rune on your chest? After you come out, activate it directly. It can seal your breath between the 5th layer and the 7th layer, so as not to be seen by the dragon family. Qian Kuan Ding said. Long Chen heard this. You have already laid out your feelings, so I still have to toss. It's all up to you. Long Chen was too lazy to act at all. He asked the head of the Long family to take out the contract. When he saw the contract, Long Chen saw at a glance that there was something wrong with the contract. Even Long Chen felt the strangeness of Lord Tianxi. Obviously, he wanted to remind himself, but Long Chen pretended not to see it, and directly dripped a drop of blood as a signature. After signing the contract, Long Chen took out the Qiankuan cauldron directly. Although the Dragon Clan's powerhouses were already psychologically prepared, the moment they saw the Qiankuan cauldron, they were still ecstatic and could not hide their greed. Long Chen was too lazy to look at them, so he shouted directly, "Who will take me to Jiuli Tower?" However, at this time, everyone else's minds were placed on the Qiankuan cauldron, and only Lord Tianxi said, "Then let me deliver you." Talking, Long Chen left with Lord Tianxi. Chapter 4978. I can't believe that the Qiankuan cauldron among the top 10 chaotic artifacts is actually in this kid's hands. Long Qihua stroked the body of the Qiankuan cauldron with his big hand. Looking at the ancient runes around it, and feeling the aura of the primal chaos from the era of chaos, the shock cannot be described in words. It has a lot of rust on it, and it is still sleeping. No wonder that kid can only summon it but cannot use its power. Long Yaoting said, "If it's not in a deep sleep state, how can he get it? God bless my Long family, let this kid bring such treasures to the door." The head of the Long family also said excitedly, "What should I do now? Do you want to drop blood to recognize the master?" Long Yaoting said, "Simply stupid," the head of the Long family scolded. "This is the Kuan Ding in the Qiankuan Ding, the main life, the most taboo to kill bloody, you give it blood, doesn't this make it sleep longer? Then what should we do?" Long Yaoting asked. "If you want the Qiankuan cauldron to wake up, we need to nourish the utensil spirit with the power of the heavenly veins, and at the same time, we must set up a gathering dragon formation to gather the power of the dragon veins of the entire heavenly wasteland and inject it into it. Only in this way can it be possible to awaken it." The Long family said. "However, we did everything possible to wake it up and Long Chen took it away. Didn't we make a wedding dress for him?" Long Yaoting suddenly said. The head of the Long family laughed and said, "Do you think I would be so stupid? It is written on the contract that after Long Chen leaves the customs, Qiankuan Ding can leave voluntarily at any time. See? Voluntary. When we wake up Qiankuan Cauldron will always need our strength to continue life. Follow Long Chen, will only continue to sleep. Will he go with Long Chen?" It turns out that the patriarch is brilliant. Long Yaoting said with admiration. In fact, Long Yaoting's brain is not very good. Everyone else saw that there was a problem with the contract, but he didn't. Everyone will act separately and seize the time to arrange the formation. The combination of the power of the sky and the energy of the dragon will definitely awaken the cauldron. At that time, we can use the chaotic power of the Qiankuan cauldron to temper our heavenly veins, and then we can loosen the shackles that have been sealed for many years. The head of the Long family said excitedly. He wants Qiankuan cauldron, not for the benefit of his disciples, but for his own sake. At their level, it is difficult to move forward, and Qiankuan cauldron is their greatest hope. Therefore, Qiankuan cauldron and the others willing to win. I think this matter should be discussed with the ancestor. Long Qianxue said. Such a big thing should be notified to the ancestor. But the last time the ancestor was at a critical juncture in retreat, he was interrupted by the appearance of Long Zhantian, and he was already furious. If we disturb again, if we destroy the best opportunity for the ancestors to break through, it will be a big sin. Long Qihua said, "Forget it, we can make our own decisions on this matter. Even if the ancestors are here, there will be no other choice." Long Yaoting said, "Okay, let's start. 3 days later, we will start to revive Qiankuan cauldron. If it succeeds, my Long family will definitely stand at the peak of Emperor Heaven. The head of the Long family said with high spirits. Following his order, everyone left one by one, and in the end, only the Qiankuan Ding remained there. A light flashed on it as if it was a silent mockery. Long Qin, I have reminded you, why do you still sign? Lord Tianxi complained on the road. Senior, thank you. Long Chen said solemnly. Why? Lord Tianxi was taken aback by Long Chen, and he was a little confused. Senior, thank you for your care, but I know this in my heart, so let me ask you one thing. If I turn against the Long family one day, will you stand on my side or on the Long family's side? Long Chen asked. I stand on the side of justice. Lord Tianxi said. That's fine, you'd better take me to Jiuli Pagoda, don't ask about the rest. Long Chen laughed. Lord Tianxi was stunned, and suddenly he seemed to understand something, but when he understood, he began to feel uneasy again. At first, he thought that Long Chen was going to suffer a big loss, but now it seems that the Long family is going to suffer a big loss. For a while, he didn't know what to do. This is Julita? When Long Chen saw the half of the ancient pagoda in front of him, and it was still crooked, if it wasn't for Lord Tianxi to bring him, Long Chen thought he was playing with him. The leaning tower was only halfway down, so it fell to the ground, and on the surrounding rolling hills, countless chains were hung down, binding it heavily, which looked a bit weird. The most important thing is that the top of the leaning tower is full of mud, and there is no smell emanating from it, just like an ordinary collapsed building, there is no difference. Lord Tianxi said, This is the Jiuli Pagoda, but it is only a part of it. It was handed down from the ancient times and has experienced ancient wars, so it will collapse. This is a pagoda. Unfortunately, in our generation, many runes have been incomprehensible, and many crafts have long been lost, and they cannot even be repaired. In history, some people tried to repair it, but once repaired, the pagoda was damaged once, and after several repairs, the pagoda collapsed directly. So embarrassing, Long Chen said in disbelief. It's very embarrassing, it took so much effort and so many resources to destroy this pagoda. Now this Jiuli tower is divided into two parts. The foundation is at the bottom, and it can still be used, while the upper part is almost useless. But it still has a bit of vitality. We use the aura of the mountains to hang it with a breath. Although we know that this is meaningless, we can't just watch it destroy. In Jiuli Pagoda, it is a world of its own. It is different from the Destiny God Pond. It cannot be repaired. The energy in it is less than 1 point. Until one day it is exhausted, it will be completely destroyed, which is why the Long family cherishes it so much. However, let me remind you that this is a treasure from the ancient times. It is based on the strength of the Sun of Destiny in the ancient times, and the practice standards set are extremely terrifying. Times are different. The strength of the modern Tianjiao is not at the same level as the ancient Tianjiao. You have to do what you can. Master Tianxi reminded. Long Chen nodded, and then according to Lord Tianxi's instructions, he walked along a path and walked to the Leaning Tower. Inside the Leaning Tower, Long Chen saw a small teleportation formation, activated the teleportation formation, and the figure disappeared instantly. Looking at Long Chen's disappearing back, Lord Tianxi sighed. He had mixed feelings in his heart, and the situation was like a wild horse running away, no longer out of control, but he couldn't do anything, so he left alone. Chapter 4979. What Long Chen didn't know was that when he walked into the Jiuli Pagoda, the entire Long family had already begun to build large-scale construction, and large arrays were built. In the entire heavenly desolate domain, tens of thousands of great formations were built, with the dragon family as the core, radiating out like a huge spider web. In a secret hall of the Long family, the three heavenly sage powerhouses and the dragon family chief each stretched out a hand and pressed it on the Qiankuan cauldron. Two heavenly veins were entangled around them, and the power of the heavenly veins continued to flow into the Qiankuan cauldron. At the same time, on the top of the main hall, a huge vortex appeared, and milky white energy was slowly pouring into the Qiankuan cauldron, which was condensed by extracting the energy of the entire heavenly desolate domain. Unfortunately, that idiot Long Zhe, he originally had a complete heavenly vessel, but his arm was cut off by Long Zhantian, the power of the dragon vessel was destroyed, and only the embryonic form of the heavenly vessel remained. Even so, if he doesn't mess around and forcibly improve Long Qinjian's realm, at this time, he can at least contribute. Long Yaoting couldn't help complaining. Okay, he is now half useless and his mentality has collapsed. It is unknown whether that Tianmai can awaken again. He can't count on it. Everyone work hard, cooperate with the formation, and inject power into the universe. Try to wake it up as soon as possible. The Long family leader said. Complaining now is useless. Except for the ancestors, only the 4 of them have the power of Tianmai. Fortunately, there is Lord Tianxi supporting the Long family outside, so they can retreat with peace of mind. Buzz, when the 4 of them were concentrated and calm, the heavenly veins wrapped around their arms, and the energy poured into the universe like a tide. Long Chen walked into the Jiuli pagoda, and his eyes darkened in an instant. He was transported to a long and narrow corridor. The originally dark corridor began to light up slowly. Long Chen was on the corridor and saw countless reliefs. It's a pity that many of the reliefs have decayed and fallen off, and the original appearance can no longer be seen. I don't know what is depicted on it. This should be what Mr. Tianxi said. Once repaired, it is broken once, and the more repaired it is, the worse it is, and finally it was repaired directly. Long Chen moved forward along the corridor, and soon there was light in front of him. Long Chen moved forward along the light. Soon he saw a sea of flames. When he saw the sea of flames, Long Chen instantly felt the turbulence. The surging power pressed towards him. What a terrifying energy fluctuation. Long Chen was shocked. Long Chen has never been exposed to such energy fluctuations. Its fluctuations are a bit like the fluctuations of medicinal pills. It seems that if swallowed, his realm can be rapidly improved. Long Chen moved forward along the passage, and the passage led to the center of the Sea of Fire. When he stepped into the area of the Sea of Fire, Long Chen felt more and more frightened. The energy here was uncontrollably drilling into his body, and there seemed to be hundreds of millions of resentful souls to invade his body. When Long Chen walked to the end of the passage, it happened to be in the center of the Sea of Fire. There was a square stone platform here, but the stone platform was cracked, and it should have been broken. Long Chen stretched his head and looked down, and saw that there seemed to be a space in the Sea of Fire below. As long as you jumped down, you would fall into that space. According to Lord Tianxi, just jump directly. However, Long Chen always remembered the words of Qian Kuanding. After he came here, he immediately released the rune that Qian Kuanding left in the soul space. Buzz, the transparent figure of Qian Kuanding appeared in front of Long Chen. It looked around and couldn't help saying, "The brokenness here is worse than I expected." "Senior, are you like this?" Long Chen asked worriedly. "Everything is going very well, and they are gathering all their strength to help me recover." Qian Kuanding said, "Don't talk about this, I have limited time, you go to the console first." Long Chen hurriedly walked up to the broken console, and Qian Kuan Cauldron asked Long Chen to peel off the gravel to find a pit. Long Chen searched for a circle and finally found a collapsed place in a pile of gravel, and pried the stone cover open. Long Chen was stunned, and there was actually a handprint here. Press your hand on it and open it with the power of colorful supreme blood. Qian Kuanding said. Long Chen reached out and pressed it, the power of the colorful supreme blood poured into the palm, and suddenly Long Chen's palm trembled. Boom, the Sea of Fire surging below, a pillar of flame, rose rapidly, and rose to the front of Long Chen, followed by a field like a ring. Buzz, as soon as the ring appeared, strange totem lines appeared in front of Long Chen. Some totems had only 1, some totems had 7, and there were 9. Choose 7. Qian Kuan Cauldron Road. Hearing the words, Long Chen reached out and pointed to the totem with 7 stripes. Buzz, Long Chen's body was introduced into the ring in an instant. Long Chen didn't understand what was going on, and the voice of Qian Kuanding came from his ears. The wronged souls here are all the ancient demons killed by the Jiuli tribe, and sealed their lifelong cultivation in the wronged souls. For hundreds of millions of years, these unjust souls have suffered from the flame curse of the Jili people. If they want to be freed, they need to release the energy in their bodies. As long as you give up your defenses, they will penetrate into your body to release energy, and your realm will be rapidly improved. But there is one thing, you have to pay attention. After releasing the energy, their ghosts will try to control your body, and try to infect you with the pain they endure. You have to pay attention to defense. Just as Chen Kuanding was talking, Long Chen seemed to have hundreds of millions of ants gnawing at his skin, which was painful and itchy and extremely uncomfortable. After listening to Chen Kuanding's words, Long Chen relaxed his defenses slightly. Boom, boom, boom. Just as Long Chen relaxed his defenses, countless energies pierced into his body like steel needles and burst into the body. At that moment, Long Chen seemed to have swallowed tens of thousands of peerless pills in one bite, and the huge impact almost made Long Chen vomit blood. Boom! Those energies exploded, and the breath in Long Chen's body suddenly climbed rapidly. Long Chen was shocked, and in such an instant he was about to break through. "Wait for me!" Long Chen exclaimed. Chen Kuanding said that advancing here is as easy as eating, but there is a disadvantage, that is, it is easy to cause the foundation to be empty, and it must be firmly suppressed. The previous breakthrough was to break through the bottleneck. But breaking through here is to create a bottleneck. The harder it is to break through, the better. Only in this way will the foundation be more solid. Power of Kunlok, Long Chen's hands were sealed, and the madly gushing power in Long Chen's body was instantly pressed back, and the realm that was about to break through was also sealed. At that moment, Long Chen's sweat came down. Who would have thought that the breakthrough here would be so easy, and it was almost finished? If the first step could not be compacted, the foundation would be unstable. One more bite, Long Chen took a deep breath, put down his defense again, and suddenly countless energy poured into his body, and Long Chen sealed it again and locked it again. In this way, Long Chen locked it 9 times in a row, and when he relaxed again, the surging energy in his body could no longer be controlled. Boom! Long Chen's breath was madly raging, and even the surrounding flames were shaken out. "God's respect," Long Chen shouted in surprise. He found that after burning the realm, he re-advanced into the first layer, which was stronger than the previous first layer. "Bring it on," Long Chen shouted in the sky, and countless flames around him surrounded him again. Chapter 4980 Boom, boom. Within an hour he broke through 3 times in a row, and went directly to the 3rd heaven of the gods. With the method of blocking the realm taught by Chenkuan Cauldron, his foundation was unbreakable, more solid and stronger than before. At this time, he has recovered to the realm before entering the divine pool of destiny, but his strength is much higher than that at that time, and his solid foundation can allow his body to carry more power. It's just that Long Chen didn't dare to get carried away. Chen Kuanding said that he should be careful about these demon souls eroding his mind. Although they have no effect on him now, it does not mean that they will have no effect in the future. After the 3rd day, Long Chen began to be more careful, and did not dare to let too many flames in at one time to avoid accidents. Long Chen found that as his realm improved, those flames became stronger and stronger, and Long Chen even captured an energy that invaded his body with the power of his soul. However, after the energy erupted, Long Chen did not capture the so-called power of the unjust soul, as if it exploded with the explosion and vanished. Could it be that because the times are too long, those ghosts are too weak to erode me? Long Chen couldn't believe it. But as he kept releasing and observing, Long Chen found that these energy-carrying ghosts really could not pose any threat to him, without any discomfort, nor did they stimulate any sense of danger. However, what Long Chen didn't know was that when he absorbed the energy to improve his cultivation, black spots appeared silently in his pupils. At the same time, a huge amount of energy was quietly swallowed up, and Long Chen didn't notice it. The Jili people are really a terrifying race. They can actually use this method for future generations to practice. Unfortunately, this technique should have been lost long ago. This ability is probably not much inferior to the heaven-defying ability of the heavenly Dao tree. Long Chen sighed in his heart while absorbing the power of the flame. Originally, Long Chen thought that if the heavenly Tao tree could bear the fruit of the heavenly Tao, it was already a super heaven-defying existence, and the Jiuli clan, who used the power of demons to help people in their cultivation, was equally terrifying. What Long Chen didn't know was that this technique was a forbidden technique in the Jiuli tribe, and not everyone could practice it. And those who practice this technique are only allowed to deal with evil demons, not other races, and there are many other restrictions, which were completely lost in the late immemorial era. Boom, 3 hours later, Long Chen's cultivation level was upgraded to the 6th level. This is the first time in Long Chen's life that he has improved so quickly. The relaxed feeling made Long Chen feel that cultivation can be so simple for the first time. With such a method, what other pills do I take? Long Chen exclaimed excitedly. No wonder Chen Kuan-ding stopped him from practicing when he was promoted to the 3rd level of divine respect. His feelings had already paved the way for him. However, when he was promoted to the 6th level, Long Chen's upgrade speed dropped significantly. At that moment, Long Chen was startled. He looked at the sea of fire around him. Fortunately, the sea of fire was still as big and strong. It took Long Chen a whole day to rush from the 6th layer to the 7th layer. Although it was a day, it was still unimaginable compared to before. After reaching the 7th heaven, Long Chen simply let go of his body because he needed too much power and let the flames rush into his body, and he was no longer defensive. He only needed to lock the realm firmly. In this way, the time passed day by day. After a full month, Long Chen was promoted to the 12th layer of heaven. When he was promoted to the 12th layer of heaven, the breath of Long Chen swept the entire sea of fire. Boom! The huge power directly shattered the stone pillar under Long Chen, and at this time, there were only scattered flames left in the sea of fire, like a ghost fire. No, it hasn't reached the great perfection yet, it's gone? Long Chen's heart slammed, and Chen Kuan-ding said that after he advanced to the great perfection, he would activate the seal talisman. This is not perfect, how to activate? However, at this time, the entire Gelida has not so many flames for him to absorb. Long Chen always felt that something seemed wrong, but he couldn't tell what was wrong. It stands to reason that everything is within the expectations of the Chenkuan cauldron. It says that if the great perfection can be achieved, then the great perfection must be achieved. Forget it, since there is no flame, let's eat the pill. At this time, it has advanced to the 12th layer, and it is only one step away from the great perfection. Long Chen began to devour the medicinal pills frantically. Long Chen was pleasantly surprised to find that because the realm from the 1st layer to the 12th layer was not improved by taking medicinal pills, and taking medicinal pills at this time, the body did not have too much drug resistance, and the efficacy of the medicine could be maximized. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and another month passed. Long Chen's breath was full, and he had touched the barrier, and he finally stopped. Haha, finally the gods are consummate. Long Chen laughed in the sky. From the 1st layer to the consummation, it only took 2 months. This is the fastest time for Long Chen to improve his realm in his life. However, during this period of Long Chen, too much time was delayed. He estimated that the Dragon Blood Warriors were almost at the completion of God Venerable at this time. It's just that every time before he was far behind the crowd, but this time, he was finally about to raise his eyebrows. Buzz, Long Chen carefully teleported out of the Jiuli Pagoda. Fortunately, the Jiuli Pagoda did not collapse. As for the flames inside, it would not matter to him. Boss, when Long Chen just walked out of Jiuli Pagoda, Long Ziwei was already waiting for him outside. Long Chen found that the current Long Ziwei was a lot haggard and lost a lot of weight. Long Chen couldn't help asking in surprise, "What's wrong with you?" "I'm fine. I just miss you, boss. I've been waiting here for you to leave the customs, boss. You've already entered the Jiuli Pagoda. Why is your cultivation level only 7th level?" Long Ziwei looked at Long Chen, a little bit disappointed. He thought that when Long Chen entered the Jiuli Pagoda, even if it was not a great consummation of the gods, he would have to be a 9th level genius. Looking at the breath of Long Chen, it turned out to be only a 7th level heaven. Of course, Long Chen wouldn't tell him that he had sealed his cultivation base. Long Chen looked into Long Ziwei's eyes and said, To be honest, what happened? Long Ziwei knelt on the ground with a thud and said painfully, I'm sorry boss, I couldn't complete your entrustment, I couldn't protect them. What happened? Long Chen said angrily. You asked me to protect those mercenaries, but Long Zhe commanded the disciples of the Long family and bullied those mercenaries every day. Just yesterday, the sixth brother, he was beaten to death by Long Zhe. Long Ziwei gritted his teeth. What? Long Chen was furious, and he never thought that Long Zhe was so shameless that he would bully a group of mercenaries. Go, take me to see him. At that moment, Long Chen's killing intent was burning. Chapter 4981. The mercenary city was originally an inconspicuous place, like a forgotten garbage dump in a city, a place that everyone despised, and a group of people struggled to survive here. They are already at the bottom of life, at the bottom of the food chain. No matter what realm their cultivation reaches, they are destined to do nothing for a lifetime until their lifespan is exhausted and they die of old age here. Different from other practitioners, the people here do not have long lifespans, because Tianwanjiu has been eroded by the breath of the Sea of Devils, and there are a lot of impurities in the spiritual energy. They are not like the disciples of the Long family, who can practice under the filtering of the spirit gathering array, and the spiritual energy here has seriously corroded their bodies. Corrosion of spiritual energy, damage caused by inferior medicinal pills, and wars with various monsters and sea monsters all year round to compete for survival resources, make their physique extremely poor. The most uncomfortable thing for them is that, for some unknown reason, they cannot leave the heavenly desolate territory. If they leave the heavenly desolate territory, they will be suppressed by the laws of the outside world and will not be able to continue to absorb spiritual energy, resulting in the inability to practice. The road of cultivation, boating against the current, once the cultivation base is stagnant, they will start to go backwards. With the cultivation base, they can suppress the injuries and delay their onset time, but once the cultivation base goes backward, they will die within a few years. It is rumored that these mercenaries are cursed people and are destined to suffer here for generations. Therefore, apart from bullying them, the disciples of the Long family will hardly have any interaction with them. There is no such thing as intermarriage. The most important thing for practitioners is blood, and no one wants their blood to be polluted by a group of lowly people. Therefore, these mercenaries can only keep warm in a group, knowing that there is no future, but they still live tenaciously. However, their way of life was broken because of the arrival of Long Chen. Long Chen passed the galaxy sky art to them and gave them medicinal pills to activate the ancestral patterns in Dantian. After the ancestral lines were revived, their bodies were reborn, all the dark wounds were gradually being removed, and their strength was rapidly improving. They worked hard to cultivate the Xinghe Song Qiangju to understand the mystery. They ushered in the reversal of their lives. They cherished this opportunity very much, for fear that they would lose the opportunity to change their destiny because they did not work hard enough. They were too eager to change their destiny. Under their assiduous practice, their strength has soared like a comet. Fang Liota has improved the fastest, and has already gathered 100 stars, and has already explored the threshold of attracting stars into the body. They were pleasantly surprised to find that after the awakening of the ancestral pattern, the corrosiveness in the spiritual energy could no longer damage their bodies, and they could absorb it with confidence. However, a strong body also brings a certain burden to them, that is, the energy required by the body will increase, and if you want to quickly improve your strength, you need more resources. For the mercenaries, they have no resources at all, and they can only barely maintain the demand at the time when they usually do tasks. But it's different now. They need more resources and more medicine pills, so they start hunting monsters and sea monsters everywhere, looking for rare medicines, and exchanging resources with the Long family to maintain their expenses. As the strength of the mercenaries became stronger, they dared to go to many places where they were afraid to go before, but in this way, they would collide with some disciples of the Long family who were trying out. However, when the mercenaries encountered the trials of the Long family disciples, they would avoid them so as not to disturb them. Unfortunately, even so, they still disgusted the Long family disciples. They started yelling at them and even drove them away. The mercenaries had to swallow their anger and leave. Although Long Zhantian won more hunting space for them, the Long family agreed and promulgated the law. However, a play like the law is sometimes a game. The law is promulgated by the Long family, and the execution is also carried out by the Long family, but all those who are bound are these mercenaries. Therefore, sometimes the promises made by the Long family are just words, and it is impossible to do anything at all. Sometimes the disciples of the Long family bully the mercenaries by relying on their own strength, but they find that the mercenaries are now powerful. They can't beat it at all. This made them startled and angry, and began to look for stronger disciples from the inner sect to come forward. As a result, there was an inner disciple who had a conflict with Feng Liuda and others, and injured Yueying, Feng Liuda and others. In anger, he beat the opponent. As a result, this time completely angered the disciples of the Long family, and reported directly to the above, saying that the mercenaries maliciously attacked the inner disciples of the Long family, and they had the attitude of rebelling. I don't know how this incident reached Long Zhe's ears. Long Zhe was angry. Hearing the news, he rushed directly to the mercenary city. Feng Liuda and others were terrified. Long Zhiyizi was so angry at Long Chen that he sprinkled them all on them. They beat and scolded them, but they dared not speak out and could only endure it silently. As a result, when Long Zhe insulted Long Chen, Feng Liuda finally couldn't bear it anymore and refuted a few words, but he was killed by Long Zhe on the spot. This bastard, I should have killed him a long time ago. Long Chen almost exploded when he heard the ins and outs of the matter. He never imagined that this guy was so shameless, one of the 4 great heavenly saints of the past. He didn't even get it. Bullying a group of small mercenaries. Boss, I've embarrassed you. I can't beat Long Yifang, so I can only watch them do their best. It turned out that Long Ziwei was there at the time, and he wanted to protect everyone, but Long Yifang, who ranked 7th in the sky, deliberately making things difficult for him. Long Ziwei was also severely injured. Watching Feng Lud was killed, his heart was full of self-blame, but he couldn't do anything. He went to complain, but everyone was in retreat, and Lord Tianxi was not there. Long Zhe covered the sky with one hand, and he had nothing to do. Long Zhe ran to Jalida's side, waiting for Long Chen to come out, but he really made him wait. But seeing Long Chen's cultivation base made him a little disappointed. He was afraid that Long Chen would not be able to cover these mercenaries. Boom! After several times of teleportation, when he arrived at the city closest to the mercenary city, Long Chen summoned thunder wings and rushed to the mercenary city at the fastest speed. Soon, the mercenary city was in sight, and then Long Chen saw a scene that made him tremble. He saw dozens of pillars standing on the square. Yueying and others were tied to the pillars, covered with welts and blood. Stain the pillars red. On the front pillar, there is a human head, which is Feng Lud's head. In front of the square, a group of people are holding whips, and they are still beating Yueying and others, and they seem to be still shouting and scolding. Stop me, Long Chen roared, like the roar of the gods. At that moment, the color of the whole world changed. Chapter 4982 Long Chen's roar shook the whole world, and those who held the whip looked at the void in horror. I saw Long Chen standing above the void, the space around him kept distorting, the clouds of the heavens gathered behind him into a huge demonic face, and the whole world instantly darkened. The mercenary city seems to have fallen into hell at once. The most terrifying thing is that the eyes of the demon behind Long Chen are exactly the same as those of Long Chen. There are countless black spots in it. Through those spots, it seems that you can see the boundless hell. Dragon Dust, when they heard that voice, Yueying and the others who had already passed out, were shocked, and then they saw Long Chen coming to them. At this time, countless mercenaries rushed out of their broken shacks. It turned out that Long Zheni ordered to block the entire mercenary city. Anyone who dared to leave the house for half a step would be killed. They were going to fight and die together, but Feng Lud ordered them not to come out. If everyone died, how could they be worthy of Long Chen's cultivation? As a result, everyone could only watch Feng Liuda be beaten to death. Yueying and others were tied to a pillar and beaten, but they could only watch from the house. Seeing the arrival of Long Chen, this group of mercenaries suddenly had the backbone, and they roared, "As long as you give an order, we will kill this group of people and avenge the sixth brother." The hatred burned in their hearts for some time, and they were going crazy. At this time, someone reached out to untie the ropes on Yuang and others, and at this moment, a sneer came, "Wait, whoever solves it will die." Looking at the sound, Long Chen saw Long Zai's inelegant face, and behind Long Zai, there was a man with a smirk on his face. That man was the one who Long Ziwei called Long Fong, the 7th-ranked powerhouse in the heavenly ranking. At this time, he looked at Long Ziwei, who was behind Long Chen, stretched out a thumbs up, and then compared down. The provocative look on his face. "Long Chen, where did you die? I've been waiting for you for a long time, but I haven't found you. Do you have to force me to force you out in this way?" Long Zai said gloomily. It turned out that after Long Zai handed over the memory rune that day, all the memories in the hall were erased, so he didn't know that Long Chen went to Jili Pagoda. And the 3 celestial saints and the patriarch are all in retreat, and they don't see him at all. As for Lord Tianxi, he has never seen him, and it is impossible for him to go to Lord Tianxi for verification. Seeing Long Chen now, especially seeing the murderous look on Long Chen's face, he was immediately excited. Long Chen's anger gave him a sense of revenge. "You are Long Chen? The owner of Long Ziwei. I want to ask you some tricks. What means do you have to win over a loyal dog so quickly?" Long Yifang said provocatively. "Call." Suddenly, Long Chen's figure disappeared in a flash, and at the moment when he disappeared, Long Zai and Long Fong were taken aback and retreated at the same time. Puff! As a result, with a loud bang, Long Yifang's head was forcibly twisted off by a big hand. Boom! Long Chen kicked, and Long Chen's body was kicked out by Long Chen. In the blood mist, Long Chen held Long's head and looked at Long Ziwei and said, "I'll teach you another trick. Fighting is fighting, killing is killing, real killing skills. There are not so many fancy things, just kill the opponent, don't give the opponent any chance." Long Chen shot too fast, there was no sign, there was no aura fluctuation, and before he saw the shot, everything was over and Long Ziwei was stunned. "Bastard, you sneak attack." Long Yifang roared. Although there was only one head left, he didn't even have a trace of fear. "Dare to attack my Long family Tianjiao. Long Chen, you are courting death." Seeing that Long Chen shot and destroyed Long Fang's body, Long Zai was shocked and angry, and at the same time there was a touch of ecstasy in his eyes, so that he had a reason to kill Long Chen. Boom! Long Zai made a seal with his hands, the vision opened, and a transparent dragon energy of the sky swirled around him. The violent air wave wiped out the entire mercenary city in an instant, and all the mercenaries were blown away by the astral wind. Long Ziwei saw the opportunity quickly, and immediately rescued Yuang and others, and flew out with them. Die! The dragon is in the field with the sword in hand, like a lightning slashing at Long Chen. He finally caught the excuse to kill Long Chen. He will never give Long Chen any chance. A shot is a full blow. Boom! What everyone didn't expect was that Long Chen directly greeted Long Zai's knife with Long Fang's head, and in Long Fang's exclamation, his head was chopped off by Long Zai's knife. The battle knife under the blessing of the power of Tianmai can swallow the sky and cover the earth. The dragon's soul is completely destroyed. Long Zai doesn't care about him at all. He wants to kill Long Chen. Even if Long Zhantian comes back to kill him in the future, he doesn't care. He just wants Long Chen to die. Snapped, however, when Long Zai smashed Long Fang's head with a knife, the long knife was caught by Long Chen. At that moment, Long Zai was dumbfounded. Even Long Ziwei in the distance was stunned. Long Chen actually grabbed Long Zai's long knife with his bare hands. It was a knife with the power of Tianmai. Long Chen gritted his teeth, with a ferocious look on his face. "Idiot, do you think you are still who you used to be? You originally had a complete dragon vein, but my father cut off an arm, hurting the foundation, leaving only half of it. You forcibly raised the realm for Long Qingyun and consumed the power of the source. Today's Tianmai dragon energy is just a force that can scare people, and it has nothing to do with it. Your strength is no longer much stronger than that of ordinary heavenly saints, yet you don't even know it. If I knew you were such a stupid person, I should have killed you when you were in the ring, otherwise there would be no disaster today. Long Chen held the blade in his hand and pressed down suddenly. Long Zai suddenly felt a huge force hit, and the whole person sank suddenly. Boom, with a loud bang, the dragon trembled under Yi Ye's feet, and it sank abruptly. However, the dragon energy of the dragon's veins around him was still running wildly, resisting it with all his strength, but his body had already started to tremble. To the limit. Buzz, suddenly, Long Chen's big hand was covered with dragon scales, and the violent aura soared again. Click, Long Zai snorted in pain, his legs were forcibly broken, and the whole person knelt down in front of Long Chen. At this time, his eyes were filled with fear, and he was shocked to find that Long Chen at this time seemed to have already changed. One person. Kakaka. Long Zai's whole body rattled, and the huge pressure made him feel like he was about to be crushed. He wanted to beg for mercy, but he couldn't open his mouth. Once he opened his mouth, the force would instantly crush him. Long Chen, are you really bullying no one in the Long family? At this moment, a cold and arrogant voice came, and then a big hand patted Long Chen's back, and on that big hand, a complete wheel of destiny appeared. Son of Destiny, Long Ziwei's pupils shrank suddenly. Chapter 4983. There are only 3 sons of destiny in the Long family. Those like Long Ziwei who only condense the ring of destiny, but cannot condense the complete destiny roulette, can only be regarded as half of the sons of destiny at most. And the person who shot in front of him was a real son of destiny. When he shot, the power of destiny in the whole world was instantly sucked away. Go away, Long Chen held the blade in his hand and pressed Long Zai to his knees. At this time, he was so angry that when someone shot, he roared, his left hand turned into a dragon claw, and he pushed it violently. Boom, with a loud bang, the man was knocked out by Long Chen's palm, but Long Chen also endured a huge force, and the mercenary city under Long Chen's feet collapsed, forming a huge pit. Puff, and Long Zai in Long Chen's hands spurted out a mouthful of blood, and Long Chen's previous strength was a little bit of added force, breaking his legs. But when Long Chen slapped the Son of Destiny with a palm, due to the influence of the other party, his power was used violently, and Long Zai was severely injured all at once. At this time, Long Zai was like a deflated ball, his whole body was exhausted, his bones were shattered inch by inch, and he was paralyzed on the ground like a dead dog. Long Xiangkun, Long Ziwei exclaimed. Long Chen slammed the man into the air, and the air wave slowly dissipated, revealing the figure of a long-haired man. The man was shocked and angry, with a look of disbelief on his face. Long Ziwei recognized the man in an instant. It was Long Xiangkun, who was ranked 4th in the heavenly ranking. He had been in seclusion for a while, but this time he had already entered the ranks of the Sons of Destiny. Long Xiangkun ranked 4th on the heavenly ranking list, but in fact, among the contemporary geniuses, he should be ranked 1st. Because the people in front of him are not modern people at all, but the arrogance that was sealed in ancient times. Before they unblocked, he had always been the strongest of the younger generation of the Long family. This time, after the baptism of the god Pool was added to the forging of Jalida's magic fire, he entered the retreat. And after he retreated, Long Zhantian killed the Long family, so after leaving the customs, he thought that the entire Long family would cheer for him, and the senior members of the Long family would definitely hold a celebration feast for him or something. As a result, when he left the quarantine, no one even paid him any attention. None of the 4 great heavenly sages disappeared, and Lord Tianxi also left. After inquiring a bit, he realized that so many things happened in the Long family when he was in retreat. When he learned that the former 4 great heavenly sacred dragons were in the wild, just after the mercenary city, they arrived at the first time. The relationship between Long Zai and him was actually the same, and it was impossible to say how good it was. But when he was promoted to the Son of Destiny, he had to find someone to show off, otherwise he would become a night walk in brocade clothes. As a result, when he just came here, he saw the scene of Long Chen suppressing Long Zai, and at the same time, after knowing that the other party was Long Chen, he shot directly. Although he heard that Long Chen defeated Long Ziwei and accepted Long Ziwei as his younger brother, He did not take Long Chen to heart. Although he used the power of the roulette of destiny, his power was not large, he just wanted to show it to everyone. As a result, Long Chen didn't get used to him either. With a palm, the power of the dragon's blood erupted, and Long Xiangquan was shocked so that his blood surged, and he almost vomited blood. He could not imagine that a person who was not even the son of destiny could withstand such a blow, and his anger rose wildly. Once as the first person in the younger generation of the Long family, the first position was taken one after another, and the ranking kept falling down from first to second, and then to third, and now he fell directly out of the top 3. But now that I have finally advanced to the son of destiny, my strength has increased by an unknown amount compared to before. I thought that I could finally raise my eyebrows and prepare to fight Long Tianrui this time. For a moment, his killing intent was skyrocketing. Where are the wild species? You dare to come to my Long family to be wild, and let you die without a burial today. Long Xiangquan vented all his anger on Long Chen. He doesn't care who Long Chen's father is. He only knows that Long Chen is just a little person who recognizes his ancestors and returns to his ancestors. He roared, a bloody spear in his hand, and the destiny wheel behind him turned, and directly started to burn the power of destiny. As soon as he made a move, he started desperately. The violent coercion was stronger and more vast than the previous Long Zhe. Long Ziwei in the distance finally saw the true strength of the son of destiny. Since you want to die, I will fulfill you. Long Chen was also in a rage. Feng Liuda died, and he was saddened. Why do good people never live long, while these stupid animals can live in glory and glory? Call Long Chen through Long Zhe, who had been severely injured, and flew directly to Long Ziwei. Long Chen did not kill him directly, but left him temporarily, because killing him directly was too cheap for him. You step back. Long Chen waved his hand, and the Keel Evil Moon was held in his hand. At that moment, the fierce killing intent, centered on Long Chen, radiated in an instant, and even the law of heaven, because of his cold killing intent, became slowed down. Long Ziwei's heart froze, grabbed the half-dead Long Zhe, and quickly retreated to protect everyone. He knew that this time, Long Chen was really angry. Boom, Long Xiangquan roared, the spear in his hand stabbed violently, and the wheel of destiny spun rapidly behind his back, injecting all the power into the spear. Long Ziwei's heart skipped a beat. This Long Xiangquan would strike with all his strength as soon as he made a move. Is this a move to decide the outcome? Dragon Blood Battle Body, now. Long Chen slammed, Long Chen shook the sky, the divine ring opened the sky, Long Chen was covered in blood-colored scales, and the blood-colored cloak fluttered in the wind. The violent qi and blood soared into the sky, the turbulent air engulfed the sky, and at that moment, Long Chen's dragon blood was ignited, releasing endless energy. This is the first time that Long Chen used the dragon's blood to fight after his baptism in the Shenqi. When he burned his blood again, the explosive power rose in his body. At this time, the dragon's blood was once again raised to a level that Long Chen has never seen before. Reached the limit. Seeing Long Xiangquan stabbed with a spear, Long Chen didn't have any extra action, just raised the Keel Evil Moon, no magical power, no power, just cut down on Long Xiangquan with such an ordinary knife. Boom! With a loud bang, the 10,000 taos were torn apart, and a milky white divine radiance erupted, setting off a wave of 10,000 miles of air, centered on Long Chen, rushing towards all directions. Boom! The earth was flattened, the mountains turned into blood mist, and even the hardest rock instantly turned into powder in front of the air waves. Originally, Long Ziwei had already retreated far enough, but when he saw this scene he called everyone back again. And Long Xiangxi was slashed by Long Chen with a knife, and he continued to retreat backwards. Boom boom boom. Every time he took a step back, the void would collapse in a large area, and when he took the 9th step, he finally stabilized his figure. Puff! As a result, the artifact was stabilized, and suddenly a mouthful of blood spurted out. Long Chen seemed to strike at random, and the power attached was unimaginable. This knife shocked his 5 internal organs, and his bones were loose, and he could explode at any time. Broken signs. Long Chen's knife directly slashed Long Xiangquan. He is the most powerful contemporary of the Long family. Now he has just awakened the roulette of destiny and became the son of destiny, but he can't even catch Long Chen's knife. He even doubts his eyes. Everything seems to be in a nightmare. Death, 6 in 1. Long Chen roared, the keel evil moon pointed to the sky, a sword shadow rose into the sky, pierced into the sky, slashed the galaxy, and the violent power made the heavens and the world tremble. Chapter 4984. It's impossible, it's not true. Long Xiangquan roared, he gritted his teeth, and suddenly the wheel of destiny behind him burned and merged with him in an instant. Under the threat of death, he directly burned the wheel of destiny and merged with it. Integrating the destiny roulette, you will gain power several times stronger than yourself. Hua Qianwu also used this trick in front of Long Chen. However, Long Xiangquan has overlooked one point. He has just awakened the roulette of destiny, and his body has not fully adapted to the roulette of destiny, so he cannot achieve a perfect fusion. Puff! As soon as the result was merged, he spurted blood again, but at this time he had no choice but to fight recklessly. Boom! Long Chen slashed ruthlessly, the world was divided into two worlds, and the universe was torn apart. The chaotic time and space, a space crack, just stayed between heaven and earth, madly swallowing everything between heaven and earth. The sword fell, and Devil May Cry was shocked. This was an irresistible sword. On the ground, the spear had been broken into countless pieces, scattered all over the ground. Long Xiangquan's arms have disappeared, and his whole body has been blurred. He looked at Long Chen, who was walking towards him, step by step in horror. No. Don't kill me, I don't want to die. At this time, Long Xiangquan was like mud, unable to move, he was afraid, he regretted it, and he begged Long Chen for mercy. You don't want to die? But you can kill me at will? Brother 6 doesn't want to die, but have you ever given him a chance? Long Chen roared. Puff! The keel evil moon was suddenly cut off, and Long Xiangquan was cut into powder with a knife. This strong man who had just become the son of destiny for less than half a day died just like that. Although I don't know if he is the shortest-lived son of heaven in the history of the human race, he must be the first in the history of the dragon family. The son of destiny, carrying countless halos, with countless legends, is the goal of countless people, but it was ended by Long Chen with a knife. Seeing this scene, Long Ziwei and the others were completely stunned. Didn't they say that the son of destiny is the darling of God, blessed by the halo of destiny, but he won't die prematurely if he encounters bad luck? Then what happened to Long Xiangquan? Just after leaving the customs, before he could show his brilliance to the world, he was hacked to death with a knife, and the road of destiny ended before it started. Sixth brother, you can rest in peace. Song Gu and others were holding a box containing Fong Luda head. Fong Luda body had been destroyed by Long Zhe, and the head was his only remnant. Call, Long Chen killed Long Xiangquan and appeared in front of everyone. Long Chen asked, where are those people? Long Chen asked about those outside disciples of the Long family who had beaten everyone and showed off their might before. Long Ziwei said, I killed them all. Now that he has been with Long Chen for a long time, Long Ziwei is infected by Long Chen's decisive killing. At this time, he has no legal rules. In his eyes, there are only friends and enemies. For the enemy, don't be merciful. As long as there is a chance, you will definitely kill it. Therefore, Long Ziwei didn't show mercy at all just now. Because in Long Chen he realized a truth. The reason why the strong are called the strong is because they are fearless. Even if they face death, they dare to rush without hesitation. Long Chen, let the sixth brother go to the ground for peace. You avenged him, I believe he will smile. Jiuquan. Yueying stroked the box in Song brother's hand, remembering the sound and smile of the sixth brother, and suddenly burst into tears. Vengeance was avenged and people were killed, but Fong Liuda could never come back. The millions of mercenary powerhouses present also burst into tears, and their sorrow came from them. It's all my fault. We have so many people, but we dare not fight with them. Even if our strength has improved, we are still a group of lowly mercenaries. A mercenary beat his chest and burst into tears. Their strength has improved, and they think they will never have to be bullied like this in the future. However, they found that the reality is cruel, and their strength has improved, but they are even more angry. Not only are they angry, they are also more likely to lose their lives. Don't do this. Brother Six made us bear it, not for us to swallow our voices, but for us to bear the humiliation. Because we finally have the opportunity to improve, we must seize it firmly. One day in the future, when we are strong enough, we will definitely not be bullied again. Someone advised. Long Chen took a deep breath and tried his best to calm down. He said, "You are not lowly mercenaries, you are the descendants of Honorable Jolie." What? When everyone heard this sentence, they were all stunned as if they heard thunder. Long Chenyu, what did you say? Yuang and others couldn't believe their ears. There is nothing to hide, you are descendants of the Jolie tribe, the rune in your dantian is the Jolie rune. Otherwise, how did your dark wounds disappear? How are your meridians repaired? Do you really think that the Milky Way heaven art is so easy to cultivate? Do you really think that in 2 months, your strength has increased tenfold, or even dozens of times because of my credit? Long Chen asked back. For a time, all the mercenaries were stunned, even Long Ziwei was stunned, he didn't know about it. Don't question yourself, from the moment the rune is activated, you are the descendants of the Honorable Jolie tribe. Your life will not be cheaper than anyone else, at least, it will not be cheaper than this guy. Long Chen said this, reaching out and picking up Long Zai, who was like a dead dog. At this time, the bones of Long Zai were all shattered, and his dantian was also shocked. He was completely a waste. If it was someone else, he would have died long ago. But half of the dragon energy in his body hangs his life. Of course, even if he wants to die, Qi Shiyue will not agree. Last time, Qi Shiyue kept persuading Long Chen not to kill him, wait for it to digest, and then devour his energy. Now, Long Zai has caused a big disaster, which makes the dragon bone Shiyue very uncomfortable. If he killed him last time, Fong Liuda might not die, so just now he was honest and silent. Pretending to be dead, you didn't help Long Chen to do anything at all, don't look for trouble. After Long Chen finished speaking, he knew that everyone would digest the news for a while, so he sought the opinions of Yuang and others, and found a place. It was Fong Lu's favorite place to come during his lifetime, and he said with a smile a few times that if he died one day, he would be buried here. After Fong Liuda was buried, Long Chen threw Long Zai in front of the grave, ignoring Long Zai's mourning and shame, and the keel evil moon pierced into Long Zai's back. Puff, Long Zai's transparent celestial dragon energy disappeared in an instant, and Long Zai's body froze before he fell to the grave. Long Chen stepped forward and was just about to say a few words to Fong Liuda to comfort his undead. Suddenly, countless majestic breaths flew over their heads. Long Chen and others were startled. There were several in that breath. Possesses the dragon energy of the sky. Everyone turned to look at the top of their heads, and Long Chen suddenly saw a large crowd of people, including several super terrifying existences. Behind them, there were a group of young enemies, tens of thousands of people. Long Chen. Suddenly, a voice full of surprise came from among the group of people. Chapter 4985. When Long Chen saw the group of people, the first thing he saw was Lord Tianxi at the front. Behind him, there were strong men in various costumes. Their breath was so terrifying that they were all for the existence of the holy level. Lord Tianxi also saw Long Chen, and at the same time saw Long Chen kill Long Zai with his own hands. At that moment, his scalp was numb, and he knew that Long Zai began to die again after he left. Judging from the situation, he finally succeeded this time. Lord Tianxi wanted to pretend to be invisible, but other people saw it. This time, it caused a huge shock. The Tiansheng powerhouse with the power of Tianmai was killed. They couldn't believe their eyes, and they were still on the Long family's territory. Among the group of young disciples, a beautiful woman dressed luxuriously, when she saw Long Chen, she couldn't help but exclaimed and called out his name. and Long Chen followed the voice and saw the woman. Long Chen was also in disbelief. The woman was none other than Feng Fei. Cough, everyone, let's not delay here, the patriarch has been waiting for a long time, let's do business first. Lord Tianxi coughed awkwardly, and continued on with everyone. Those strong people are not fools, they all see that there is a problem here, but because of face, it is not easy to ask more, so they can only follow Lord Tianxi. On the other hand, Feng Fei, regardless of other people's eyes, swooped down and came to Long Chen's side. Looking at Long Chen, her beautiful eyes were full of surprises. I can't think of it, it's so nice to see you here. Feng Fei was very excited when she saw Long Chen, but when she saw the tomb and Long Zai's body, she felt a little embarrassed and hurriedly restrained her excitement. Sorry, I'm so excited. Long Chen looked at Feng Fei, and there was a touch of warmth in his eyes. Although Feng Fei's relationship with him was a bit complicated, it was neither an enemy nor a friend. Long Chen himself felt very vague about her position. But seeing Feng Fei, the old man who had ascended from the mortal world to the immortal world, Long Chen was also a little excited, especially after just experienced a change. He felt an inexplicable kindness towards Feng Fei's arrival. When Feng Fei came, Long Ziwei was immediately attracted by her noble temperament, but when he noticed Feng Fei's aura, he was horrified to find that she was a son of destiny, and the aura of destiny was extremely strong, more powerful than the one who had just been killed. The Long Xiangquan is too strong. Obviously, she has been promoted to the Son of Destiny for a while, but she is such a peerless fairy. In front of Long Chen, she seems so restrained, and I don't know if I am wrong, in her beautiful eyes, there is no trace of it. Do not hide the worship of Long Chen. A powerful Son of Destiny, who even admired Long Chen so much, disregarded the strange eyes of others, and left the team to talk to Long Chen, which made Long Ziwei know his boss again. It's great to meet you here. Long Chen looked at Feng Fei's face and couldn't help saying. Feng Fei looked at Long Chen, and suddenly a gentle smile appeared on her face. She seemed to understand something and said softly, "In my heart, you will always be the undefeated god of war. Any difficulties will not stop you from moving forward, right?" Long Chen suddenly discovered that Feng Fei knew him so well. He nodded, and he would always encounter all kinds of ups and downs and pains on the way of cultivation, which was unavoidable. The two sisters Lu Ziqiong were like this, and so was Feng Liuda. To get rid of this pain, he had to become stronger enough to establish his own laws, and no one would dare to violate the laws. "Why did you come here?" Long Chen asked. Feng Fei looked at the people around her and said, "Let's talk while walking." Long Chen knows that this may involve some secrets, and it is inconvenient for too many people to know. Long Chen took out a space ring and gave it to Long Ziwei. "You are responsible for arranging everyone. There are things that everyone needs here. If anything happens, activate the communication symbol as soon as possible, and I will rush over as soon as possible." Long Chen's space ring is full of chaos spirit stones and various spirit pills, enough for them to use them for a few months. After entrusting everyone to Long Ziwei, Long Chen and Feng Fei walked side by side and walked all the way to the Long family. As for the killing of Long Zai, Long Chen asked the Long family to settle the account. Long Zai so arrogantly aimed at the mercenaries, completely ignoring the laws that Long Zhantian fought for them, so what the Long family said was like a fart. Fortunately, Feng Liuda appeased everyone before he died, otherwise these mercenaries would all die in the hands of Long Zai. Long Chen can't figure it out. They are descendants of Zhuli, even if they don't have Zhuli blood, but they have Zhuli runes in their bodies, then it means that they are all family. Why did the Long family treat them like this? Feng Fei walked side by side with Long Chen, with both hands behind her, walking lightly, sometimes jumping a step or two, like a young girl with a shy smile on her face, and occasionally peeking at Long Chen. Long Chen was originally depressed, but Feng Fei's appearance made him laugh. "Why are you looking at me like this? It's rare to have the opportunity to be alone with you. I'm really happy. It's been a long time since we've known each other. From the mortal world to the immortal world, this is the first time to have a chance to chat alone." Feng Fei smiled and said, always dignified. She suddenly became naughty, and it turned out to be a different kind of beauty. Long Chen shook his head and said, "In the fairyland, how arrogant the four gods of Long Yi, Jiang, Zhao, and Zhao were, and at that time, I was just a gangster who came out of the secular empire. Later, there was an intersection, and almost all of it was hatred. However, I would like to thank you for one thing. Thank you, I have never hated me. How could I hate you? It's too late to love you." Feng Fei said with a teasing face, but it looked like a joke, but her face was already red. Long Chen was a little embarrassed, and he didn't know if this guy was serious. In this way, he couldn't answer the call. Seeing Long Chen's speechless appearance, Feng Fei smiled and said, "I'm kidding you, there are so many confidants in your family. The so-called wolf has more meat and less meat. With my strength, it is difficult to get a piece of the pie, let's forget it. What is a wolf with more meat and less meat? This metaphor is not good." Long Chen shook his head and said a few words to Feng Fei unknowingly. Long Chen's depressed mood improved a lot. After Feng Fei laughed, she said sternly, "Speaking of business, I don't know if we are enemies in previous lives. In short, this time, I'm afraid you will be targeted again." "Target? Why target me?" Long Chen asked in confusion. Feng Fei looked at Long Chen, pointed to the logo of the Jiang family's disciples on her cuff, and smiled without saying a word. Long Chen's eyes widened, he thought of the clothes of those disciples, and he suddenly thought of a possibility. No way. Chapter 4986, Hee, maybe this is fate. Seeing Long Chen's surprised appearance, Feng Fei smiled. She knew that Long Chen understood everything. "For gods? Wait, can I ask you a question?" Long Chen asked. "Just ask. I know everything I know, and I have everything to say." Feng Fei said very simply. "Your Jiang family is also a descendant of Jiuli?" Long Chen asked. "It seems that you finally understand your life experience. Of course, the four gods are descendants of Jiuli, but their talents and physiques are different, and the magical powers they inherit are also different. The Jiang, Yi, and Zhao families are basically inherited through runes, and your dragon family has an advantage over us, and that is blood inheritance." Feng Fei said, "Blood inheritance? Why don't I know?" Long Chen stared at him. "I don't know this. Anyway, in the inheritance of our three families, it is recorded that your dragon family has one more bloodline inheritance than ours. In fact, the requirements for certification are also very simple. You, like your father, both have colorful supreme blood. As long as you activate the runes in your dantian, the vision will manifest. Don't you understand?" Feng Fei said, "Dantian? The key is that I have to be talented." Long Chen was speechless for a while, but Long Chen suddenly thought of his father. After his father was rescued, the speed at which his cultivation soared was too amazing, and his strength was far behind him. Could it be that this has something to do with bloodline inheritance? Perhaps it was the father who really awakened Julie's inheritance. Seeing Feng Fei staring at him, Long Chen shook his head and said, "It's not like you don't know. I was dug out of my spiritual roots, spiritual bones, and spiritual blood since I was a child, and my dantian was empty and nothing, although I later took it back. But it's too late." There was a hint of heartache in Feng Fei's eyes and said, "I'm so sorry, I forgot about this." Feng Fei suddenly thought that the runes in their dantian had been in a state of deep sleep before. At that time, because they didn't have enough power to wake them up, their energy was barely enough to keep them from dissipating. And Long Chen is different from them. He has been deprived of spiritual blood, spiritual roots, and spiritual bones since he was a child, and he grew up in the secular world. If the inheritance rune is not nourished, it will wither. For a time, she feels more and more Long Chen is so pitiful. "It's nothing, at least I'm no worse than anyone else. I've lost the mulberry in the east, and many things in this world can't be explained clearly." Long Chen said with a smile. Looking at the smile on Long Chen's face, Feng Fei also smiled. The reason why she admires Long Chen is because of his indomitable character, never bowing his head to fate, and daring to challenge all the injustices in the world. And Long Chen's character is not possessed by anyone she has ever met, no matter what kind of arrogance. Long Chun seems to have the advantages of everyone in this world, but also the disadvantages of everyone. He is a combination of contradictions, but he has an irresistible personal charm. What is the purpose of the three Protoss coming to the Long family this time? Is this going to be a competition before advancing to immortality? Long Chun asked. You are so smart, you can guess right away. The four major families are going to have a friendly discussion and learn from each other. The most important thing is that the sparring between the Sons of Destiny is a contest between the forces of destiny, which can stimulate the roulette of destiny to manifest the vision as soon as possible. Feng Fei said, Making a vision? Long Chen was surprised and said, Does the Son of Destiny have a deeper excavation? Feng Fei said, The real Son of Destiny is the one who condenses the complete vision of destiny to be called the Son of Destiny. Those of us, to put it bluntly, are all the children of the preselection, and it is very important that everyone's destiny roulette can condense the destiny vision. Legend has it that the number of destiny visions is fixed, and there will never be two identical visions under the sky. Moreover, each destiny vision has its own unique name. When it is awakened, the destiny roulette will exert its real power. Listening to the older generation of powerhouses, our blank destiny roulette is just the tip of the iceberg compared to the awakening vision's destiny roulette. It is simply insignificant. Ilgo, it seems that I have been underestimating the Son of Destiny. Long Chen gasped. If it was true as Feng Fei said, the potential of the Son of Destiny would be too terrifying. By the way, after we discuss this time, we will enter the different world shared by the four gods to transcend the tribulation together. The laws there are especially suitable for us. Will you be together when the time comes? Feng Fei asked. I probably won't go. Long Chen shook his head and said he and Mo Nian had already made an appointment to go to the heavenly fire demon realm in Brahma Pill Valley together. As for transcending the calamity, for Long Chen, everything is the same. It is better to go to the enemy's nest to transcend the calamity. If you are lucky, you might be able to take a group away. Hearing what Long Chen said, a look of disappointment flashed in Feng Fei's eyes, and then she asked, Then are you ready to enter the secret realm of Lingxiao Academy? Long Chen shook his head and said, I can't say this, I don't want to lie to you. It's not that Long Chen can't trust Feng Fei, but the more people know about this kind of thing, the more dangerous it is. After all, this is not his business. Hearing what Long Chen said, Feng Fei not only was not angry, but had a smile on her face. Will you never lie to me? That's not certain. If you become my enemy one day, then there is no way to guarantee it. After all, I am so ruthless that I even lie to myself. Long Chen smiled. Long Chen said this, making Feng Fei giggle for a while, but when she smiled, she quickly restrained her laughter, because there was a group of people standing in front of them. It turned out that the two of them were talking and laughing. Time passed quickly, and before they knew it, they had already arrived at the Long family inner court square. The disciples of the three families were on the square, admiring the scenery of the Long family inner courtyard. On the square, disciples of the Long family enthusiastically introduced these buildings of the Long family, their names, uses, historical origins, and so on. It's just that the disciples of the three great families all looked around indifferently with a look of indifference. However, when Long Chen and Feng Fei walked to the square side by side, a large group of young men and women dressed in the same clothes as Feng Fei immediately gathered around. Long Chen looked at these people, and I have to say that the young disciples of the Jiang family are indeed powerful. Thousands of strong people are all above the 9-star destiny. There are more than a dozen people like Feng Fei, and Long Chen is slightly surprised. It seems that the strength of the Jiang family is much stronger than that of the Long family. Sister Feng Fei? He is the Long Chen you mentioned? It doesn't look that good, right? Long Chen glanced at the man and couldn't help but look at Feng Fei. This guy seems to have helped me win over the enemy a lot. Yes, he is the idol I worship, the male god in my dreams. Are you not convinced? Feng Fei spoke with a wicked smile in her eyes. She stretched out her jade hand and hugged Long Chen's arm affectionately. At that moment, the expressions of Jiang's disciples changed. Chapter 4987. Long Chen looked at Feng Fei with a flowery smile and almost scolded others. Isn't it so embarrassing? Originally, this group of people looked bad, and she even drew hatred for herself. In general, noble families are extremely xenophobic, and the more powerful the forces are, the more xenophobic they are, especially when there is a daughter of heaven in the family. If anyone dares to interfere with her, the group of young disciples will be as indignant as if their ancestral graves were dug up. Even in many families, if women marry outside, it is equivalent to slapping the young disciples of their own families, because it shows that they are not good enough, otherwise women will not marry outside. As far as women are concerned, it is really impossible to pick out a decent person in the family, so you mustn't feel wronged. Therefore, whether a woman is married or recruited internally, it is a sign of the incompetence of men of her own generation, and Feng Fei has a beautiful face, with a noble but not arrogant temperament. She has won the admiration of countless men and is known as the first beauty of the Jiang family. Now the number one beauty of the Jiang family, holding a man's arm, the faces of the Jiang family's disciples were slapped. Long Chen was speechless for a while, and looked at Feng Fei with slanted eyes, while Feng Fei stuck out her tongue playfully, with a naive look. Long Chen knew that this guy was hard on himself. Aren't you afraid that I will kill them all? Long Chen said to Feng Fei angrily. Don't be afraid, everything is under control. Feng Fei giggled. Hey, Long Chen, I want to duel with you. A sturdy man with a giant halberd stood up. Long Chen glanced at the man. The son of destiny, the strength is not bad. You don't need to duel, you have already won. Long Chen ignored the idiots who grew up in the greenhouse, and just walked forward. You coward! Seeing Long Chen ignore him, the man shouted angrily. Hey, it's enough, don't swear. Feng Fei hurriedly reminded. He knows Long Chen's temper, and ordinary people humiliate him, and he will not take care of others at all, but if someone humiliates the people around him, then Long Chen will run away. In case that man insults Long Chen's parents, then everything but out of control. You coward, come and fight with me. If you can take my 3 moves, I will kneel down and kowtow to you. The man shouted loudly. Not uncommon, Long Chen shook his head. The big man was so angry that he didn't know what to do when he saw that Long Chen was soft and hard. Long Chen, right, I've heard of you. Long Chen walked forward, Feng Fei stuck to Long Chen like a follower, and suddenly a voice without any emotional fluctuations came. Long Chen turned his head to look for the sound, and saw a fair-faced black-haired man sitting cross-legged on the square. There was no Jiang family disciple around him. It seemed that the other Jiang family disciples were a little afraid of him. Originally, the man closed his eyes and meditated. When Long Chen looked at him, he opened his eyes. His eyes pierced into Long Chen's eyes like a sharp sword. If Long Chen's will is not firm enough, it will cause his will to collapse in an instant. And cried out. However, when it comes to firm will, Long Chen doesn't seem to have obeyed anyone in his life. Facing the man's gaze, Long Chen did not evade or counterattack, just looked at him quietly and said, "Who said that?" Long Chen felt the breath of the years on him. Obviously, this person is not a modern powerhouse, but a sealed ancient powerhouse. What surprised Long Chen was that this person's eyes were as lustrous as water, and there was a faint water curtain inside. Long Chen couldn't feel his true strength through his eyes. There are very few people who can hide their strength in front of Long Chen, and among the same level, those who can do this are even rarer. It can be seen that this person is very strong. Listen to what she said. The man looked at Feng Fei and said. Long Chen looked at Feng Fei, and it was you again, what are you trying to do? Long Chen was speechless. What did she say about me? Long Chen asked. When she just entered my Jiang's house, she said a word, whoever wants to be his husband must defeat someone. The man looked at Long Chen and said, speaking of this, even if you think about it with your toes, you know who this person is. The man continued. Then, she also said something. She said that in this world, in the same rank, there may be people who may be tied with Long Chen, but I never believe that in this world, someone can defeat Long Chen. Thus, I'm going, your cow is so hard, I thank you. Long Chen looked at Feng Fei with a speechless expression. This is too arrogant. If Feng Fei could change Long Chen in the last sentence to Ammonian, Long Chen believed that Ammonian would get excited and could give Feng Fei a kowtow. He liked such arrogant words the most in his life. Feng Fei is the #1 beauty in our Jiang family. You have to be mentally prepared, the man said. I am mentally prepared. If anyone challenges me, I will admit defeat. Whoever wants it will take it. Long Chen shrugged. Anyway, Feng Fei was joking. Why should he cause trouble for this kind of thing? Long Chen said this. The man was stunned, but Feng Fei was so angry that he punched Long Chen. After Long Chen finished speaking, he passed through the square in front of everyone's eyes. In the distance, there were strong men from the Yi family and Zhao family, but Long Chen didn't bother to look at them. Although Feng Fei was teased by Long Chen, she was not angry and walked side by side with Long Chen, saying as she walked, "That person's name is Jiang Wang. He is the #1 expert in our Jiang family's generation, and he is the arrogance sealed in the ancient times." Long Chen nodded and said, "This name is good. This person looks quite calm, somewhat brainy, unlike those guys, who are like bulls in love. Everyone wants to fight." "What did you say? It's so ugly?" Feng Fei said with an angry expression. The two of them were walking when they suddenly saw a group of young women, holding a beautiful tray full of delicious food, and walked straight into a large hall. Long Chen said to Feng Fei, "Come on, eat something first and chat while you eat." Long Chen and Feng Fei came in. There was no one in the hall. There was only one big round table. The table was full of various delicacies. There were hundreds of them, and each of them was delicious. Feng Fei was taken aback. "Long Chen, did you get along so well in the Long family? That must be dripped. Eat first, it will be cold for a while." Long Chen motioned Feng Fei to sit down, and he was not polite, poured wine and dine, and greeted Feng Fei to be polite. While eating, Long Chen asked about the situation. It turned out that among the 4 major families, there are ancient Tianjiao who have been sealed. There are 4 in the Jiang family, and the one Long Chen saw is the strongest existence. Zhao Qingtian and Yi Lingshao were the powerhouses of the Zhao family and Jiang family respectively. When Long Chen heard their names, he couldn't help frowning. Feng Fei couldn't help but ask, "What's wrong?" Listening to the names of these 2 people, I think they are going to collide with me. Long Chen said. Feng Fei suddenly felt a burst of laughter. Just a name, how could it be so serious? "Long Chen, what are you doing?" Just as Long Chen and Feng Fei were eating and chatting, a frantic voice came, and the voice was almost crying. Chapter 4988. An old man of the Long family rushed in angrily and found that Long Chen and Feng Fei were eating and drinking, trembling with anger. It turned out that this was a banquet prepared for the masters of the big family. The old man was in charge of this matter. Everything was ready. One inadvertently let Long Chen slip in. Long Chen didn't ask what this place was, just sat down and ate. The old man was so angry that he gritted his teeth, and he wanted to chop up Long Chen to make a dish. Feng Fei was eating vegetables, and after listening to the old man's tone, she looked at Long Chen again. At that moment she understood, and she was immediately embarrassed. Facing the questioning of the old man, Long Chen calmly said, "Isn't this hungry? I just saw it was ready, so I just ate it. By the way, did you eat it? Why don't you sit down and eat it together? I'll eat your head." The old man roared. At this moment, Lord Tianxi came, just to see the old man roaring, and seeing Long Chen sitting on the seat eating happily, he was dumbfounded. "Lord Tianxi, you can call the shots for me. The banquet is about to start." "But the banquet. The banquet?" The old man pointed at Long Chen, and his grievances brought tears to his eyes. Lord Tianxi knew what was going on at a glance, and it didn't make any sense to get angry at this time. He said, "Hurry up and change the banquet hall and set up a new table of dishes. I'll delay it for a while with them. You don't have to worry. The dishes should be exquisite and decent, and don't make people laugh." The old man just left, but before leaving, he glared at Long Chen fiercely. Obviously, he took this hatred down. "Lord Tianxi is so coincidental. Let's sit down and eat together. I just have something to talk to you about." Long Chen stretched out his hand and pulled a chair beside him. Forget it, let's go next time, I'm going to deal with them, you don't have to worry, eat slowly, and accompany the guests. Lord Tianxi said to Long Chen, and nodded to Feng Fei after speaking, turned and left. Eat it, this time you can eat it with confidence. Long Chen smiled. Feng Fei looked at Long Chen and couldn't laugh anymore. It took a long time to stop her laughter. I really admire you. For so many years, you are still as bad as ever. It doesn't seem like a good thing to say. Long Chen ate and drank on his own. After going through the mercenary city, Long Chen's mood was ups and downs, and he turned his grief and anger into food so that he could feel better. Originally, Long Chen wanted to question Lord Tianxi. Why did Long Zhe lead his disciples to bully the mercenaries openly and kill at will? Why did the so-called power possessed by the 4 heavenly sages become invalid when they came to his father? This Lord Tianxi is a respectable elder. He has such a good temper, so he didn't scold you. Feng Fei said. He stopped the loss in time. Anyway, the vegetables have already been eaten by us. It is useless to scold me, and he also offended me. It's better to be a favor. In this way, I have to thank him, and you have to remember his favor. Long Chen took a sip and felt that the wine was not good, so he took out his own wine and poured a glass for Feng Fei by the way. Long Chen, do you know what the identity of this Lord Tianxi is? Why is there only the cultivation of the earth sage, but our patriarch must also be polite to him? Feng Fei couldn't help but ask curiously. Long Chen shook his head. I haven't asked and am not interested in asking. Anyway, I can't live in Long's house for a long time. I'll leave after I finish things. I'm too lazy to ask about some things. Feng Fei saw that there were hundreds of dishes on the table and the 2 of them couldn't finish it, so she suggested calling a few sisters to eat, but Long Chen didn't care, let her do whatever she wanted. So Feng Fei used a secret method to call more than a dozen female disciples of the Jiang family to run over, but as soon as the female disciples of the Jiang family came, Long Chen regretted it. Brother Long Chen, I heard that when you were born, you were dug out of your spiritual blood, spiritual roots, and spiritual bones. Before you were 15 years old, you hadn't set foot on the road of cultivation. Is this true? Brother Long Chen, I heard that you have so many confidants that you can't count them with both hands. They are all beautiful, but in your heart, who is the love in your heart? Brother Long Chen, we were on the road before and saw that you seemed to have killed a strong man who had condensed the dragon energy of the sky. Who is that person? Brother Long Chen, you are handsome and handsome. I heard that you are still an alchemist. With a talent like you should have a group of wives and concubines. I want to ask, do we still have a chance? If there is a chance, how will the process go? Do you need an appointment? The female disciples of the Long family came and did not eat. They directly asked Long Chen all kinds of questions. At that moment, Long Chen's head was buzzing, as if it was about to explode. Even if Long Chen had been through 100 battles, he couldn't stand this kind of devastation. Seeing Long Chen fleeing, Feng Fei couldn't help laughing. He never imagined that the invincible Long Chen would have such a miserable day. Long Chen came out in a hurry, rushing all the way, and suddenly the figure in front of him flashed, and Long Chen almost collided with that person. And the person that Long Chen almost bumped into turned out to be a woman in a long snow-white dress. The woman had a high bun, phoenix eyes and Lu eyebrows, Cheong nose and cherry mouth, and she turned out to be an extremely beautiful young woman. Beauty is beautiful, that is, there is a cold arrogance of someone who has been in the upper position for a long time, a look of indifference that refuses people thousands of miles away. She looked at Long Chen expressionlessly, her eyebrows were slightly frowned, and she looked very unhappy. Long Chen was thinking about things just now, but he didn't expect someone to come over at this corner. Just as Long Chen was about to apologize, 2 figures appeared behind the woman, and one of them said coldly, "Are you walking without eyes?" Long Chen suddenly caught fire. "You walk with your eyes, so it won't be like this, the road is yours?" It was only then that Long Chen noticed that behind the woman were 2 young people in Long family costumes. What Long Chen didn't expect was that they were all children of destiny. From the perspective of breath, they were ancient powerhouses who were sealed. The man was contradicted by Long Chen, and he was immediately furious. He was about to shout, but was stopped by the woman who waved his hand. She looked up and down at Long Chen and said, "You are the Long Chen they call it." Long Chen was stunned for a moment, then looked at the two powerhouses behind her. Long Chen said, "Then you are the Long Tianrui in their mouths." Long Chen didn't expect that he would see the legendary Tianjiao of the Long family here. What surprised Long Chen most was that the breath of Long Tianrui was suppressed so much that he wouldn't have almost collided with her. Even she is stronger than Jiang Wuwang of the Jiang family, Jiang Wuwang still needs to set up obstacles to block Long Chen's induction. As for this Long Tianrui, the aura of the whole person is completely natural, and it seems to be integrated with the heaven and the earth. Even if he stands in front of him, he cannot perceive her aura. "You have good strength, are you willing to follow me?" Long Tianrui looked at Long Chendao, and when she said so, the two behind her suddenly became a little nervous, and even had some kind of jealousy in their eyes. Cut! Long Chen only made a sound and walked past her. Chapter 4989. Someone actually wanted to recruit Long Chen as a follower. Long Chen almost didn't smile. This Long Tianrui is too high on himself. Long Chen ignored him and just walked past Long Tianrui. As a result, one of the men took a step and immediately blocked his way. "Roll." Long Chen stretched out his hand and pushed. The man snorted coldly and slapped it out. Boom! Long Chen's foot was shocked, and the man was pushed out 5 or 6 steps by Long Chen's palm, and his face was unbelievable. This is a collision of instinctual power, that is, the power that a person's body automatically emits when it encounters resistance. This kind of power is the most basic power of a person, and it has nothing to do with spells, magical powers, combat skills, etc. As a result, the man was knocked out by Long Chen so far, and the other man was also shocked. Even Long Tianrui's eyes showed a look of surprise. In her perception, Long Chen's strength should be stronger than that man, but she did not expect the gap between the two to be so big. She has always been accurate in perception, but there has been such a big misjudgment, which is something she has never encountered before. The man was shaken back by Long Chen, and suddenly became angry. He was about to shoot again, but was stopped by Long Tianrui. "Since you have already lost, you must admit it, and if you keep entangled, you will lose not only your face, but also your life." Long Tianrui's cold drink made the man even more angry, but he did not dare to refute, just looked at Long Chen coldly. Obviously he was not convinced. Long Tianrui looked at Long Chen and said, "Be my follower. If you can keep up with my footsteps, one day in the future, you will have the opportunity to be my partner. Come on, it's not uncommon." Long Chen still has that attitude. Although this woman is beautiful and her strength is unfathomable, her innate arrogance and indifference to others are very unpleasant. After Long Chen finished speaking, she just walked over. Strangely, there was no mood swing on Long Tianrui's indifferent face. It seemed that she always had only one expression, and that was expressionless. Facing Long Chen's sarcastic tone, she was not angry, but just watched Long Chen's back disappear. "I made a mistake just now, if you give me another chance." The man said, very unconvinced. "It's not scary to lose. What's scary is that you don't admit defeat, you don't know shame, and then you are brave. You are destined to have no future in your life. From today, you are no longer my follower." Long Tianrui said coldly. "Tianru!" The man cried out in horror. Long Tianrui ignored him and walked forward slowly. Another man hurriedly followed, but he didn't even look at the man. "Tianrui, give me another chance." The man was very unwilling and stepped forward, but he just took a step when suddenly a mouthful of blood spurted out. I didn't see any movement from Long Tianrui. The man suddenly stiffened and fell to the ground. "Don't force me to kill you." Long Tianrui left a cold sentence, and the figure slowly disappeared, leaving only the man lying on the ground, humming unwillingly. "Why did you just tell us the news now?" In a secret room, the head of the Long family, the 3 major heavenly sages, and Lord Tianxi were all there. Besides them, there was an old man. The head of the Long family was holding a letter and shouted angrily at the old man. At that time, you were in seclusion, and Lord Tianxi was not there, and the letter said top secret. Except for you, we have no right to open it. The old man said aggrievedly. This top secret letter arrived long ago, but it was delayed until it was delivered to their hands. If it wasn't for the arrival of the three gods, they were still in retreat, and the letter could not reach them. Long Chen, this little beast, can cause trouble so much. Why didn't he tell us that he killed the deputy hall master of the fire god temple? The head of the Long family said angrily. Long Chen, we can't stay, otherwise Brahma Pill Valley will come to the door. What should we do? If we don't hand it over, we can't fight Brahma Pill Valley at all. If we hand it over, we won't be able to explain it when Long Zhantian returns. Long Yaoting said helplessly. But now, Chen Kuanding has reached the most critical stage. If he drives him away, he will definitely take away Chen Kuanding. If he can't take it away, he will spread the news. Once the news of Chen Kuanding in the Long family spreads, our Long family will have the disaster of extermination. Long Qihua also said solemnly. It took so much effort and put in so many resources. If the Qiankuan cauldron has not been awakened, if the bamboo basket is empty, how will we explain to the ancestors in the future? Long Qianxue couldn't help saying. Now is not the time to complain, but to work together to find a way to deal with the problems that have occurred. Long Qihua said angrily. Long Qianxue acted cautiously and cautiously. She always felt that this matter was a little unreliable, and always wanted to seek the opinion of the ancestors, but the patriarch, Long Qihua and Long Yaoting were determined to do so, and she could only cooperate. But now I know that Long Chen killed the deputy hall master of the fire god temple, but Brahma Pill Valley doesn't know that Long Chen is in the Long family, otherwise he will kill him at the first time. Now Long Chen has become a hot potato. They don't know what to do. I think it's really not good. Stop the loss in time. In fact, whether it is Long Chen or Chen Kuanding, it is fatal. Only by getting the two of them away will the Long family be safe. Master Tianxi pondered for a while. No, the patriarch, Long Qihua, and Long Yaoting refused without thinking. We have already paid so much, and we must not fall short, otherwise our resources and the power of the heavenly vein that we have consumed will all go in. I am not reconciled. Long Qihua said. Furthermore, that is Qiankuan Cauldron, one of the top 10 supreme artifacts. Once it recovers and becomes the inheritance of our dragon family, who can stop our dragon family from rising? Long Yaoting said. Long Qianxue couldn't bear it any longer. She angrily said, first, it is still unknown whether the Qiankuan Cauldron can recover. Second, even if the Qiankuan Cauldron recovers, is it willing to become our inheritance magic weapon? Will it see the resources of our Long family? Third, even if the Qiankuan Cauldron became the inheritance magic weapon of our dragon family, what would happen? It is the Kuanding, the master of life, and at most it helps us alchemy, and the foundation of evolution, and assists in cultivation. I admit that if we give it a few hundred years, it will definitely make our Long family rise strongly and soar into the sky. But if, once the news is leaked, we can't protect it, and similarly, it can't protect us, don't you understand? Are you betting on the entire Long family for that illusory and unreachable idea? Can we afford to lose? Lord Tianxi said, I think Qiangshu's words are very reasonable. Let's listen to the opinion of the ancestors on this matter. Buzzing. At this moment, the nameplate on the long waist of the Long family lit up rapidly. Forget it, I'll discuss this matter later. I'll deal with the other three first. It's really terrible. They're all in time. The head of the Long family said helplessly and left together. Under the secret room where they are, there is a huge enchantment. In the enchantment, the Qiankuan Cauldron is bathing in the endless divine brilliance, and that appearance seems extremely enjoyable. Chapter 4990. This Long Tianrui seems a little scary? Long Chen left with a proud face, but when he left Long Tianrui's sight, Long Chen was alert. This Long Tianrui's breath did not leak at all, just like a wellhead, but no one knew how deep the wellhead was, and if there was a volcano hidden, no one knew. It was the first time that Long Chen had met him. Even if he didn't hide it deliberately, he couldn't perceive the true strength of the opponent. This Long Tianrui was not a little bit stronger than that Jiang Wong. Long Chen was just about to return to the temporary residence that Lord Tianxi had arranged for him. Suddenly, the nameplate on Long Chen's waist flashed rapidly. Long Chen was shocked, thinking that something happened to the mercenary city again, and it turned out that someone came to him. Qin Feng. Long Chen did not expect that the person who came to find him was Qin Feng, a dragon blood warrior. Boss Qin Feng was very excited when he saw Long Chen, and when Long Ziwei next to him saw that Long Chen knew Qin Feng, he was relieved. It turned out that when Qin Feng came to the Long's house, he didn't come in blatantly, but wanted to inquire about the situation first. Therefore, he came to the Long's house as an adventurer, and naturally the first contact was with these mercenaries. As a result, it was easy to inquire about Long Chen's current situation, because Qin Feng was wearing a hidden breath ring made by Guoran, and his strength was hidden, and the mercenaries did not know whether to inform Long Chen or not. After all, the existence of Long Chen's level is not something that anyone can see. If it is some irrelevant people, then Long Chen will be annoying every day. It happened that Gui Jiao, who had just recovered from the wound, appeared. Before Fang Liuda was killed, Gui Jiao was severely injured because of the conflict, and it was not considered well until now. When he was about to ask Qin Feng's eyes lit up when he saw him. He immediately recognized him, and told the scene of his headshot in the Jiutian channel. Although it is a little embarrassing, Qin Feng's words may prove that he does know Long Chen, but this does not rule out that this is a prepared line. Because Gui Jiao was beaten in the head by Long Chen, many people know it, it is not a big secret, and Qin Feng only said that he knew Long Chen and had important things to find him, but he did not say that he was Dragon Blood Warrior. Because Qin Feng didn't know what happened to Long Chen in Long's family, he kept his mind and didn't tell the truth. Gui Jiao reported Qin Feng's matter to Long Ziwei. When Long Ziwei saw Qin Feng, his heart skipped a beat. In front of this 5-star destiny man, he felt a strong sense of oppression. You know, he has condensed the divine ring of destiny, and he is half the son of destiny. He felt this way, and he was suddenly alert. However, he did not rashly test, but used the nameplate that Long Chen gave him to report the news. At this time, when he saw that the two really knew each other, he breathed a sigh of relief and at the same time vaguely guessed Qin Feng's identity. In Long Chen's residence, the three lived together, and Long Chen introduced each other to the two of them. Although he was psychologically prepared, Long Ziwei still felt shocked when he introduced himself. Because Qin Feng introduced himself as Dragon Blood Warrior, without any title, Long Ziwei finally couldn't help saying, "Brother Qin, what position do you hold in the Dragon Blood Legion?" "Without a position, I'm just an ordinary Dragon Blood Warrior," Qin Feng said with a smile. "You are so powerful, you are just an ordinary warrior?" Long Ziwei couldn't believe it. Although he didn't try to test it, Qin Feng could give him such a great sense of oppression. He believed that Qin Feng's real combat power might be on par with him. Even if it was weak, it wasn't too weak. Before, the Long family went up and down, compared him with Long Chen, and said that he was not Long Chen's opponent. He was not convinced and investigated Long Chen. It's just that he is a disciple and has limited investigation ability. The information is all given to him by the Long family. Basically, there are many beauties. There is a dragon blood army under his command. When he first heard that Long Chen kept a dragon blood army, he almost laughed madly. The real beasts are lone travelers, only cattle and sheep are in groups, so when he saw this news, he was very impressed with Long Chen. Even more despised. This must not be able to beat other people, just gang up on people. Such people dare to call themselves strong? However, when he saw Qin Feng, he was completely confused. Such a strong man is just an ordinary Dragon Blood Warrior in the Dragon Blood Legion? Hearing Long Ziwei's question, he smiled bitterly and said, "I am very ashamed. I used to follow the boss alone for a while, and my strength improved a little. After returning to the Dragon Blood Legion, I served as the deputy captain for 3 months, and then it was taken back by someone." "Captain? Or vice?" Long Ziwei opened his mouth wide with disbelief on his face. If what Qin Feng said was true, how strong is the Dragon Blood Legion? Although he didn't know much about the Dragon Blood Legion, he knew that the Dragon Blood Legion had 4 commanders. He didn't know the names. When he saw Qin Feng, he thought Qin Feng was one of the 4 commanders. Qin Feng, is there something wrong with you this time? Ziwei is not an outsider, just say it. Long Chen said. Qin Feng said sternly, Lingxiao Academy has now occupied the first academy and activated the cornerstone to open the treasure house and 16 small worlds left by the first academy. I'm going, you are so strong? Is the dean being so powerful? Long Chen was shocked, his face was full of ecstasy. He didn't expect that so many earth-shaking changes had taken place when he left the academy. It's not the dean, it's the hall master who is back. Qin Feng mentioned the hall master, and his eyes were full of reverence. He continued, the lord of the palace has returned, and with the momentum of plowing the courtyard and sweeping the caves, he advanced in a straight line and quickly occupied the first academy in the most direct and violent way. During the period, the demons blocked it, and countless strong men who opened the heavenly veins took action. As a result, they were swept away in front of the palace master. At a critical moment, the picture of the Brahma god appeared. The lord of the palace held the Lingxiao divine sword and fought against it. The 6 dragons were entangled, and the picture of the Brahma god was shaken back. Boss, you didn't see that picture, it's a pity. Speaking of this, Qin Feng was already too excited, and Long Chen also opened his mouth wide. The 6th-path Tianmai Dragon Qi, what is the lord of the palace doing? After coming back, why was it so scary? Long Ziwei also heard his scalp go numb. The 6th-path Celestial Dragon Energy, isn't that a powerhouse like Long Qihua One Punch? Like a strong man beating a child. The lord of the palace is really strong, that's great, now in Lingxiao Academy, no one dares to bully him again. Long Chen said excitedly. By the way, boss, the first academy has been recaptured. Master Dean intends to open the world of Lingxiao, so that everyone can be promoted to immortality. According to Master Dean, there is a great chance to enter it, awakening the Ring of Destiny. Awakening the Ring of Destiny? Long Chen's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. Chapter 4991, So Terrifying? Long Chen was stunned. It turned out that the first academy of Lingxiao Academy was the strongest branch among the many branches of Lingxiao Academy. The scale is 10 times larger than that of the Lingxiao General Hospital, and the basic conditions are hundreds of times better. However, no matter how strong or good it is, the General Hospital is the foundation. Otherwise, according to the general worldly understanding, it's the real headquarters. According to rumors, there were countless people who proposed to move the cornerstone of the main academy to the first academy, but history can always prove everything. Even with the strength of the first academy, it still failed to survive the battle of the gods. Fortunately, the cornerstones of all branches of Lingxiao Academy are connected. As long as the cornerstone of the main academy is intact, the cornerstones of other branches cannot be destroyed. The cornerstone is there, and the world built with the cornerstone is there. The reason why Bai Letian and others used the whole academy to open the first academy is because the first academy has left countless treasures. The Lingxiao world is one of them. The formation in the Lingxiao world has been running, gathering energy for hundreds of millions of years. These energies have been stored together, which is extremely terrifying. When he heard this, Long Chen was immediately moved, but he had already made an appointment with Emon Yen, which made him a little uncomfortable. He really wants to take the entire Dragon Blood Legion to cross the calamity together, so that they will get the greatest improvement in the calamity. However, this guy Emon Yen doesn't know where he went. If the heavenly fire demon realm of Brahma Pill Valley is not opened, he will not appear. Long Chen can't contact him at all. After all, he has too little time on the ground. If Long Chen doesn't go, Emon Yen goes to Tianhua Demon Realm alone, and Long Chen is worried. What if he has 3 long and 2 short? Don't go to Lingxiao world, you still want to go to Skyfire Demon Realm. Suddenly, the voice of Qian Kuan Ding came from Long Chen's mind. Senior, Long Chen suddenly heard the voice of Qian Kuan Ding, and he was surprised and happy. Although it was not in his soul space, he still paid attention to everything about him. Although Ling Xiao world has accumulated countless energy, it means nothing to you, far less than heavenly fire demon domain. As for your dragon blood legion, you don't need to take care of them that much, especially in the calamity. Although you are there, they will absorb more calamity energy, and the overflow to the body will be even greater. But with you there, their dependence on you is too strong. The calamity tempered is not only a person's body, but also a tempering of the soul and will. Therefore, even if you don't make an appointment with them On Yen, I don't recommend going through the calamity with them. Chen Kuan-ding said. Chen Kuan-ding said this, and it seems that Long Chen thinks about it as well. If you gain something, you will lose something. In this way, the temptation of Ling Xiao world to him is really not that big. In addition, he can't gather the power of destiny, and he can never become the son of destiny. This kind of opportunity has nothing to do with him. Senior, how are you doing these days? Long Chen asked. Very good, they are trying their best to help me, making me a little embarrassed to pretend to be asleep all the time. Chen Kuan-ding said. Long Chen smiled, and before Long Chen could speak, Chen Kuan-ding said again. However, I think we can actually go further. How to go further? Shouldn't it? Long Chen suddenly thought of something. Yes, that's what it means. Chen Kuan-ding said. Long Chen was speechless for a while. He just said that he was embarrassed. Now that he is better, his appetite has suddenly become so great, and there is no embarrassing rhythm. Is this still the style of the legendary chaos artifact? Obviously, Chen Kuan-ding took a fancy to that group of people. Among this group of people, there are so many strong people with Tianmai dragon energy. It plans to let them help too. The Tianmai dragon energy of these people can help it recover quickly. Chen Kuan-ding said, I have been learning from you during this period of time, always giving them a feeling that they are about to wake up, and they feel that success is close at hand. This is to imitate the way Long Chen made a picture book to deceive the disciples of Brahma. After all, it is not easy to learn, but it is too simple to learn badly. It's a bit difficult. After all, the Long family kept this matter a secret, and even those backbones were wiped out of memory. Long Chen said, it's hard to do. Their strength is very important to you and me. If I don't activate the Dingkuan talisman in my body, I can't help you refine the nirvana pill. Chen Kuan-ding said solemnly. Why is this? Long Chen was shocked. Dingkuan talisman is the first rune on my body, and it is also the most basic rune on my body. If it is not repaired, all other runes on my body will be in a dormant state and cannot provide me with power. It doesn't matter if it is refining ordinary medicinal pills, but the nirvana pill needs to collect the laws of stars above the 9 heavens. In my current state, it is very difficult to achieve, even if it is reluctantly achieved. On the other hand, the law of collection is not pure enough, which affects the quality of the medicine pill. On the other hand, the stamina is not enough. Once I make a pot of pills, I have to rest for a few days, which seriously affects the efficiency. Chen Kuan-ding said. Hearing this, Long Chen's heart froze. During this time, the Long family strictly restricted the disciples and prohibited them from provoking mercenaries. In order to thank Long Chen, the mercenaries frantically collected the precious medicines that had not been completed in the mission. Now, there are only a dozen kinds of precious medicines missing from Nikong Dan, and he is full of expectations for Nikong Dan. If the Qiankuan cauldron cannot be refined, it is really a pot of cold water. Qiankuan cauldron is helpless, so don't even think about other cauldrons. As Qiankuan cauldron said, this matter must be completed. Senior, how long will it take to activate the Dingkuan talisman? Long Chen asked. It's just that one kick, but unfortunately, the Long family, you know. Qian Kunding said a little embarrassedly. Obviously, all the resources of the Long family have been consumed by him, and it is just a little bit short of ignition, but now, with the strength of the 4 heads of the Long family, it is tepid, and it is always impossible to reach that critical point. Long Chen nodded and reassured Chen Kuan-ding that he would find a way. This matter is related to the future of the 2 of them, and Long Chen must plan for it. Qin Feng, I will not participate in Lingxiao world this time. I have more important things to do. Long Chen said. Qin Feng felt a little disappointed when he heard Long Chen's words, and when Long Chen saw his expression, he suddenly remembered the words of Qian Kuanding. Sure enough, there were too many tribulations with him, and they developed a lot of dependence on themselves. Facing the calamity alone, they would feel a little bit of fear and anxiety. It seems that it is really best not to go through tribulation with them in the future, even if they are watching. This time you return to the academy, do me a favor, take all the mercenaries and leave them here, I'm not at ease. Long Chen said. Qin Feng nodded. Since Long Chen didn't plan to go back, he wanted to go back immediately and report the news to the academy. At this moment, the door slammed, followed by a cold and arrogant voice. Long Chen, come out, someone wants to see you. Chapter 4992. The sound of knocking on the door was loud, hurried, rude, and even the sound was annoying. This is Long Chen's temporary residence, not a place for cultivation. Therefore, there is no protection restriction here, and others can easily disturb him. Hearing this annoying slam on the door, Long Ziwei suddenly became angry, just about to stand up, but was pulled by Long Chen. Let him come, your way of handling it is not in line with the style of the Dragon Blood Legion. Long Chen motioned for Qin Feng to deal with it. Qin Feng nodded and walked to the door. Boom, Qin Feng kicked the door flying, and then a scream came, and a figure was kicked and flew out, and the sound of broken bones came clearly. It was a young man with a proud face, but now his face was twisted in pain. Qin Feng's kick broke all his ribs. His feet were also extremely deadly, almost knocking him out. What are you doing? There were more than a dozen young disciples outside, both male and female. The word Zhao was embroidered on their bodies, proving that they were disciples of the Zhao family. At this time, they were shocked and angry. Knock on the door with such a heavy hand? What do you mean? A disciple roared. I'm sorry, I thought you were in a hurry. I didn't have time to open the door, so I kicked the door open. I didn't expect to hurt you by accident. I'm really sorry. Qin Feng's voice was humble, but there was no apology on his face. How are you? My kick, I hope I can teach you a lesson. Remember to knock on the door with your knuckles. Knock lightly, you can't knock, and knocking on the door is only possible in one situation, and that is to report a funeral. You slammed on the door in such a hurry, with such strength, I thought all your family members were dead, so open the door as quickly as possible, there is nothing wrong with it. Qin Feng said lightly. It's too much to deceive people, there is something to come out and fight in the arena. A young disciple was furious and immediately challenged Long Chen. Facing the disciple, Qin Feng didn't even look at them, and said indifferently, you are here to write a letter of war for others, right? Go back and tell those who are under the gauntlet, my boss will never accept such a boring engagement. If he gets impatient one day, just tell my boss. My boss will send them on the road when he is in a good mood or in a bad mood. As a Dragon Blood warrior, Qin Feng has seen many such routines. These people are all 9-star destiny, and in the eyes of others, they may be regarded as masters of masters. But let alone in front of Long Chen, even in front of him, they are all a group of radishes and cabbage. How can they be qualified to challenge Long Chen at first glance, whose younger brother is deliberately provoking trouble? The Dragon Blood warrior has gone through countless battles. For this kind of routine, it will only make him feel naive and challenge him, which is like a joke. How old are you? Ask Long Chen to come out. The strong man who was clamoring to challenge Qin Feng pointed at Qin Feng and scolded him, but before he could finish speaking, Qin Feng had already stood in front of him, grabbed his arm like electricity, and tore it violently, blood splattered. Fei, an arm was torn off abruptly, making a shrill scream. Laugh. A strong man from the Zhao family drew his sword for the first time, but only half of the sword was drawn, and Qin Feng kicked the hilt back. At the same time, a slap in the face was slapped on his face, and he slapped him down, his skin cracked, and the whole person was drawn and flew out. In the room, Long Ziwei was dumbfounded. Qin Feng's movement was like electricity, and his movements were smooth. He tore his arms, blocked swords, and slapped his face in one go, jumping wildly. Every movement of Qin Feng seems to have nothing unusual or difficult, but when combined, it is a flawless combo. The reason why Long Ziwei is shocked is because he is also a master, knowing this. The set of actions reflects Qin Feng's tempered combat experience. He can easily kill these people, but a set of movements can be so chic and elegant, and he can't do it lightly. Let me teach you another lesson. Weapons should not be drawn randomly, because the moment you show your weapons, you have already regarded me as an enemy, and once I am identified as an enemy, I will never show mercy. Qin Feng looked at everyone's sluggish look, and was obviously frightened by his strength. He snorted coldly, "Go away, go back and remember to tell him exactly what I said just now." After Qin Feng finished speaking, the group of people looked ugly, but they didn't dare to say a word. One grabbed his arm on the ground, the other covered his face, and the other two held the man who had been kicked before slamming the door. The people walked away in embarrassment. As soon as the group left, Lord Tianxi came over. He happened to see the backs of the group of people, and then looked at the blood on the ground, and his expression was a little strange. Seeing the arrival of Lord Tianxi, Long Chen and Long Ziwei came out, and Long Chen asked, "Master Tianxi, why are you here? Shouldn't you be having dinner with the heads of the 4 families?" Lord Tianxi smiled and said, "The table hasn't opened yet. No, have you come to invite you to join us? Please? This is not good. I am not qualified to participate in this kind of banquet. Besides, I have finished eating." Long Chen quickly waved his hand. "What's there to eat with these old-fashioned guys?" A group of girls didn't pay any attention. Went to eat with a group of old guys. Do I have a hole in my brain? Let's go. No one cares about the lack of food, mainly because there are some things to discuss together. The heads of the 4 major families are here, and the strongest geniuses of the 4 major families are also here, so you won't be too lonely. Master Tianxi said, "Where are the heads of the 4 major families?" Long Chen suddenly thought of something. He didn't want to go, but for this, he had to go. Long Chen looked at Long Ziwei, and Long Ziwei hurriedly said, "Go, boss. You'll take Qin Feng to the mercenary city. When Qin Feng goes back this time, he will take away all the mercenaries. After all, there are millions of people. If they go together, there are many things that need to be arranged. In addition, how many of these people are willing to go, and they need to be consulted? Opinion. Because Long Chen said that those who can be taken away are those who have practiced the Galaxy Heaven art, and those who can't be brought to Lingxiao Academy, so this matter is also tricky, and it takes a certain amount of time to coordinate." Listening to Long Ziwei's answer, Long Chen didn't need to say anything, so he left with Lord Tianxi. When he entered the banquet hall, dozens of eyes gathered at Long Chen at the same time, and 2 of them had sharp eyes. Like a knife, the killing intent is not concealed at all. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.